game, fellas. The game's the important thing today. Play football, you've got to use the flanks and you've got to play fair.
Umpires Fox, Chambers and Rouston. It's Colin Rouston who bounces the ball, and in ruck Arnold paddles the ball down. Stevens gets upended. McGowan came cleverly through, got it off to Gowans. In turn it's Hamblin who streaks away from the middle. Central District, they're exploding out of their centred line, and an early miss just to the left. A point.
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but there's one neutral ball situation, and it's screamed out of the centre square. It would have been a 20-second goal if it had been perhaps 30 centimetres to the right.
Well, we saw a lot of that last week, and Westies will be really up against it. Barrett's got the ball. He's got to run it wide, and this will be what they'll be looking to do. Westies control the ball up and over the top, taking the mark. Symes inside, and they're running for him. That's Chubb. Takes his time, picks out a hand pass. He's gone back into the middle, into the corridor to Barrett, up into the forward line. Quentin Graham came from behind, knocked it away. Hollands was over the ball, did well, dodged a couple, moves on to the left, then the right leg. He finally gets it up forward. It'll drift away and be taken out of bounds. We go down to Michael, have a look at the Centrals bench.
Yes, the lads that get to sit down early. Cowans, Bevis, who was pretty impressive in his stint last week, and also Arnott waiting his turn.
Interesting matchup at full forward, Triggy on Adam Richardson.
Yes, it looks like they've got player Damien Arnold matching up on him, or is it Damien Hicks? We'll just pick up one of those in a moment.
Hicks, correct. You got him in one. That's pound for pound. An interesting one. Rutten tried to throw the ball back into play. Cassisi took the ball, but the boundary umpire was right on the job. Interesting, the height and weight difference between Adam Richardson.
I guess they're banking on the fact that he can jump and stay with him in terms of the leading.
Richardson will do the ruck work, paddles it down. James Gowans flicks out the handball head. Richardson just couldn't quite take a clean take. Mellor gives it off to Barrett, who ducked underneath it. Hopwood got him. The umpire says play on fair enough, and they've been pretty consistent in that this year as McGowan feeds it out to Chris Gowans, who in turn pops it up to Lockwood. It's a great rotation through their centre half forward. Lockwood, Sivanala, McArdle, Stevens got it from Hamblin, and in turn further afield Guerra, welcome back from the power. He's a very clever player, this young fellow. Centres it up to the square. McArdle, big fly from behind, took a big leap, but in doing so gave away the free kick, and now West Adelaide defensively streak away.
Just a little bit undisciplined that by McArdle. There was no chance of marking the ball, and he just gave the free kick away.
Holland's over the ball now. Westies battling hard. That's Nathan. Quick hand pass out. And, well, that looked to be a throw. It didn't matter. It came to Quentin Graham. Now, Central's another option. Well, the disposal off his left side wasn't quite what he wanted. And as a result, it's been intercepted by Westies. So, early in this match, just a behind to Central. And that is the margin. Over the back, Graham had one grab, but it fell to Barrett. Barrett now down the wing. He's got a player running for him, and chips it up to Richardson. So Richardson marks on the lead, will have his first shot at goal for the day.
Geister's got the job, Triggy.
Well, we've had 3 goes at it. We've finally got the right one.
Geister's got him.
Well, Geister's a more logical matchup, isn't he?
That's what I thought, but Hicks was actually standing him at the ruck contest, but I think he was just in the general area.
So Richardson, from an angle, probably suits his left foot, and I think it might have gone just to the right of the goal umpire for the minor score. So scores are level, gone just 3.5 minutes.
Adam Richardson's accuracy has been pretty good this year. 21 goals, 7 before today. Kicked 12 goals straight against South Adelaide as Hicks chips in short, uses the ball pretty well, and Hay plays on quickly. Now it's Hopwood. Deep at half-back, over the top to Arnold. Arnold in turn has a runner, but Stevens is running out of space. That's exactly what will happen. But I guess they've edged 80 metres away from goal. It was a great tackle put on by Barrett. Cassisi in support, and Stevens had nowhere to go. So Arnold will be opposed to Stewart in ruck. The 2 big fellas go hard at it, the heavyweights. Stewart it was who got the ball down in the general direction. Play on, says the umpires. Cassisi scragged, gets out the handball, shoots it out to Howard, who backtracks, short on the left. He goes, clever vision, and just inside the boundary line, Barrett is marked. Now there's a lead forthcoming. Ratton was the target. The big fella's up and down. Couldn't quite bring the ball with him, but he crashed through and created a hole. Howard crashes further afield, just really chanced his arm and just went belting through. Now they need to work hard. Mello under plenty of pressure. Couldn't quite get the handball clear. Good shepherd, Ed Richardson for Barrett. Barrett came through. Howard ducks underneath it. Play on again, says the umpire. It's pretty good umpiring. They haven't really fallen for the two-card trick, but Hopwood was very clever. Gets it out to Gowans. Now the opportunity for Hamlin to run. At right half-back, he streaks away, this young fella. Plenty of pace, and outside the corridor, well, what was that? No contest, Your Honour, as Toomey just grubbers one through the midfield where Miles, sweeping across half-back, relieves a little bit of pressure by getting it off to Hollands.
Hollands now looks forward on the lead. Mellor, well placed, just in front of him. Mellor gathers it, looks for a hand pass, goes back on his right leg and then chips it for Richardson. That's falling well short. Richardson will do well, takes it with the one hand, but out of bounds. Down to a look at the Westies bench.
Yes, the lads sitting there, Dabrowski, Polner, and the first gamer in Nick Malinovsky, coming down from Renmark this year, Little Rover, and he's one of two first gamers for West Adelaide. Also Joyce, Glenn Joyce, played for the Rangers. There's another good mark in the forward line for West. Just to finish that, Glenn Joyce, Murray Bushrangers last year, just walked into West Adelaide and said, can I play footy? And he is, and he's playing league today.
And so is Ben Rutten, and he's taken that mark on the lead, so positive start by Westies. Just have a look. He's going to kick, what, Stephen, 40 metres or thereabouts?
Yeah, he might be just a fraction closer by the time he gets there. I reckon he's taken it 35 out. Yeah, it might be about 40 on the kick, but perfect conditions, so he should just start it a little on the right post.
And, well, only a quick 1-2 step, and as a result, he's just sprayed that. Another minor score, and you'd be disappointed if you were sitting on the Westies bench seeing a result like that.
You'd be disappointed if you're in the coaching box, because you get a couple of entries into your forward line like that against the top side, and you get 2 pings on goal and they just miss. You really want them to actually count.
Chris Gowans just was looking for Lockwood. Lockwood couldn't quite get there. Nathan Luke underneath this one. Barrett is having a field day. Finds it yet again. Off it goes to Hollands. A long one towards the goal square. Richardson was up and down. Geister thumped it away. Roving the ball was new chum in Glenn Joyce, and he snapped it. That's not a bad effort. First kick in league footy and second kick in league footy, and he gets a goal.
Did it pretty well, didn't he? There's so much of this terminology, I suppose, in footy these days, which is front and square. Just watch the ball comes in. Richardson provides the contest. It went fairly long, by the way, but at least he was front and he was square. And that's where the ball should come from a forward's perspective, straight into the arms and through for a goal. So they've had 3 or 4 entries for just those couple of behinds. That's a very important goal for them.
So 4 possessions for that man on screen. Glenn Joyce, the ball back in the middle, and Westies a good start. 7 points the better of the reigning premier. Just in dispute, coming across the back was, I think it might have been Munn, got it across to Nathan. Now Westie's working hard on the far side of the ground. Cassisi up forward, good strong mark.
And Scotty Hahn, the Iceman Triggy. As Neil Cross has a coughing attack, we should excuse him. It's pretty hard in the middle of winter. And the Iceman, recruited this year from Port Adelaide, who's a pretty clever player.
Complements their forward line pretty well, doesn't he, with some of that ground level work?
A couple of tools, a couple of good shorts. Came in very close to the man on the mark. The distance, it's coming back beautifully. So the Iceman's done it. Hahn gets his first, 20 goals for the year. So he's been a very valuable pickup in their forward division.
Yes, he has, and this is the ideal start for West Adelaide, because we've talked Central up throughout the first 10 minutes of this as being hard and being very efficient through the middle of the ground and running hard from defence. But at the moment, West Adelaide are controlling it in most of the areas. Besides that first exit from the centre square clearance, West Adelaide have done all the attacking, and it's just the start they wanted.
23 kicks to Westies, just 7 to Central District, so they've really dominated. There's another kick that might go down as a stat, just a soccer off the ground.
Yeah, Stewart was clever, wasn't it, to the big fellow? Rucking out of the middle.
Well, McGowan took that free kick, was allowed to play on. Sloppy from Stevens, keeps the ball in play. That advantages Howard. He didn't keep it in play, out of bounds.
Spoke of Guerra a moment ago, back from Port Adelaide. Michael Stevens, another power player who has been in pretty good form for Central, but just can't get a look in by virtue of the fact that the Power are playing so well at the moment.
Howard put on the pressure, now he's advantaged, busts through, gets a hand passes, he's falling. Cassisi comes back. Mellor got it on the foot quickly. Centrals with all the numbers. McGowan looks towards the centre corridor. Peeling off and running was Hay. Well, he found him in the end. Hay, though, under pressure, bad disposal. Nathan bursts through. He'll approach 50 and have a shot at goal over the back, just the behind. A minor score, another opportunity. Probably a bit wasted, that one, Steve.
Oh, can you feel the big momentum swing?
Put yourself in Ian Borchard's shoes just for a moment. The coach of West Adelaide. They've worked hard in their forward line. They've kept it in the area. They've forced an error. They get a free shot on goal and then blow it. You just can't afford to have that sort of mistake.
Hay goes short. Gowans. This is Chris. Deep in defence. Got 3 goals last week. Working pretty hard defensively today. Oh, big fly up and down. It's Ed Richardson. He knows how to take a grab, but he goes deep to the pocket. I'm not sure that's the area that Adam Richardson needs to be leading to, Triggy.
No, he's well out that zone that he wants to be in, perhaps the 45s from each of the goalposts.
It is a problem. He's very reluctant to lead right down the centre and take out a body. I think that's an area of his game where he really can improve greatly. As McKinnon gets the kick forward into space, it goes. Munn's there. Guerra for Central. McGowan just flicked it on. It wasn't actually a handball. Guerra just played for the free kick. The umpire cleverly didn't have any of that. Joyce couldn't get clear, and pushed across the line was Chris Gowans. So we're 11.5 minutes in. West Adelaide 14 points clear. Central, after exploding at the first bounce and missing the opening shot on goal, haven't had the ball really inside their forward 50 since then, as McGowan had the ball smothered. Comes back for a second opportunity. Luke Nathan over the top of the ball. He can't get clear. Guerra applies a tackle, and Mark Stewart, the big man, is just throwing his weight around, as he should.
As he should. Set the trend, a little bit of the tone of play in the middle of the ground. Ben Watkins, as we saw pre-game, not playing. So he's got a big job today against a very experienced ruckman in Damien Arnold.
Last time they were here, Steve, you're talking about that. One point loss to Port Adelaide. They look like they've retained some of that fire. As we see, 10 entries into their forward 50 as opposed to just 2 from Central District.
Yeah, as I said, that's a good start. They're getting plenty of the footy, but at 2 goals, 3 on the board, they really were in a position to be 4-1, and I don't want to labour the point, but it might yet come back to haunt them because Central will keep coming.
Well, eventually there's a free kick.
Guerra caught one high, Crossy.
Yep, bit of a slap across the forehead, so Guerra will get the free kick. Some of the Central's fans who've made that journey a long way down Main North Road. Now he's got he has an option and he takes it up in the middle. Just put across to Hay. Hay now goes back down the line, down the wing, ordinary kick. Picked up by Stevens, the hand pass out. Lockwood, he was good last week, and this side of the ground he's got Hicks loose. Hicks has obviously run down from the back pocket, chips it across. McArdle, good spoil by Chubb, I think it was. Coming loose. Munn now out wide. They're often running again out of defence. It's Toomey with West Adelaide. Now an opportunity to relieve that pressure.
Gets it out, Hollands. Actually, that's where Central District can really cut you up, Triggy, when they run from defence, as Hicks did.
Yes, they do. They've run in waves so far, David. And one of the responsibilities of forwards for West Adelaide's kick goals, but the other one, the real onus, is to stop that run, and they have to chase very hard.
Ed Richardson, front position, got a little nudge, but took front position, did it pretty well, held his ground beautifully, lifts the eyes and goes deep to the pocket. This is a worry. This is a genuine worry. Richardson's leading deep. Even if he gets the ball there, he's not going to make an impact. And when he misses it, the Central District defence are able to go straight to the line.
Well, they have not only that, but if you took possession, David, it's a very tough kick, isn't it? It's not a percentage kick out there.
Well, he was so good early in the year, wasn't he? Coming down the corridor, Mellor, cleverly done. Guerra got Hollands, getting through Ed Richardson. Kick off sorts away. Good defensive work was Hay. Hamlin comes in, lends a bit of support. Kasisi grabbed him, takes him to the ground. Now it's a fight for the ball. It's a great contest. Well done, Kasisi. Second, third and fourth effort was fantastic. His fifth effort results in his first goal.
You summed that pretty well, David, in that you just keep having a crack at it and sooner or later it will come to you. Kasisi's a quality little player, and you can see just kept trying, kept at it, and then finally it came to him and he was able to reap the benefit of it. We talked just a moment ago about Adam Richardson being pushed out there to the boundary line. Part of that, of course, is that Damien Arnold is a back playing ruckman, and he's sitting very much in the space where Adam Richardson would like to be moving. But I think, David, you mentioned it earlier, instead of being pushed out wide, he just needs to jump straight into him.
Yeah, kill him.
Back in the middle, and a 20-point lead, and finally Arnold gets the ball away, and an opportunity for Centrals to go forward. Looked like it might have been a free kick to Lockwood. Doesn't matter. Away come Westies again from defence, and well, that kick probably advantages Centrals, and Westies be open. It goes out. It doesn't. Lockwood. Sorry, it was Hopwood. Pulls it back in, and now James Gowans comes away, drives it up. He's got a loose player. It's his brother. No surprise to find the Gowans finding each other. He comes back on the left leg, sloppy disposal. Howard takes it. He's been strong, if nothing else, for Westies. They break from the back. Nathan gets it free to Munn on the far side. And now back to Kasisi, advantage by the kick, but Hopwood cuts it off for Centrals, and he's got Hay running for him. Through the middle of the ground, Hay kicks it up long, looking for McArdle on the lead. Good effort from McArdle. Umpire calls play on. Toomey, loose hand pass. McGowan, hand pass out to Sibanela, has the snap, and it might just make it over the line before Stewart can get back there.
Just to continue that theme, is that Tyson Hay came streaming off half back there, and West Adelaide player in chase, not really a genuine chase, only an average chase. I mean, if you're going to win playing Central District and Norwood and Port, these top sides, you've got to put that sort of pressure on. You can't allow them to come through the centre half back line and the centre line with freedom.
Sibanala handballs it away, it rebounds out. Joyce gathers it in. Guerra claimed him, racked him up. McGowan cleverly done to Stevens. Now it's James Gowans, turns around on a threepenny bit and drops it short to his brother. Well, they combined, they're telepathic, these two. And Chris Gowans, who kicked 3 goals last week and played so beautifully in the wet, has had a couple of 2 and 3 grabs at balls today, but he took that one clean as a whistle. 7 possessions so far from 45 out. Good kicking style, stays over the top of the ball. That was a pretty wobbly old kick though. Sibanala couldn't quite get to the contest. Now Dion Miles. King was dragged off the ball. The umpire said play on. Short and deep into the pocket. It's Toomey who sits back deep in the defensive zone. Chips it over the top. Good effort to Barrett, who really is running hard and finding plenty of the ball. Toomey played as a centre, but now as a defender. That's holding the ball. Slade got him. And Slade will shoot for goal from about 35 out on a slight angle.
We can't be criticised for having a look and a think about where it's going to go, but Toomey just took the extra step too long, and that's the sort of chase from behind, the pressure that we've been talking about through the first 16 or 17 minutes of this game that you need. And a chance for Slade to get there first. Matty
Slade leans forward, drives through the kick. It was a good kicking action. The goal umpire likes it. It's a goal. So Central District get one when it was so important. And they're 1-1 to West Adelaide's 3-3.
Can sometimes change the mood of a game when that happens. West Adelaide have had all the attacking. They've had, as just we saw a few moments ago, 10v2 in terms of the forward entries. But just that one activity, the one hard chase, the one bad blue, if you like, from a West Adelaide player can change the mood of the game. What's really important for them now is to bounce back and get the next goal.
Well, we'll see how that develops. Westies lead it by 14 points. And, well, Howard gets first possession. He can't get it cleanly away, nor can Hollins. Eventually, Mellor, now back to Howard, ducks the tackle. Stewart does a good dummy around his opposing ruckman, and Arnold gets it forward. Joyce, he's been good first up. Well, he's played on there, played into trouble, but he got it to Barrett. Looks up, aims for Big Richardson. At the front, it's come. Roving, Hollins, opportunity, goal.
Right.
Good finish, Westies, good reply. And back to a 20-point margin.
But didn't Rutten do well to bring the ball forward?
He did very well, and there's a couple of observations there. One is if you go straight down the corridor and you do it quickly, the back playing ruckman doesn't get a chance to get down there. You've opened up the face of goal. That's the second thing by being down there. But just go back a step. I really like the way Dean Howard plays in the middle of the ground. He's bullish. He gets the footy. He tries to get himself running straight on line. And so far in this game, he's been a very, very effective player.
So too's Mark Stewart, by the way, Triggy. He has really made an impact in the middle for West Adelaide. 5-2 in favour of Stewart. So the big man for West Adelaide is doing all the hard going. That one's another one, so it's 6-2. Howard, the player you've just given a rap to, Triggy, crashes through. Stevens had the ball smothered by Newt. Clever work, Slade throws it down the throat of Chris Gowans, who goes to half forward. Lockwood caught under the ball. Symes was just experienced and just nudged him under the ball. Toomey's got the job on McGowan. We'll watch that one unfold today. And so far, you've got to say McGowan's finding a bit of the ball, but Toomey is starting to attack.
Well, we know Ricky McGowan's a very good player. Toomey's made that mistake a few moments ago, but you're right. It's not a bad matchup in terms of strength and size.
Lockwood, well, he's athletic, but Stewart was still able to gather the ball in. Couldn't quite get the handball clear. And it stacks on the mill as Miles makes sure the ball doesn't come out, and umpire Fox says, fellas, I'll have a bounce. Well, Crossy, this is interesting because I think a lot of people thought that the Bulldogs would blow West Adelaide away today, but West Adelaide, another goal or two are in control.
Yes, but on caution, we did see Norwood play Centrals last week, and Norwood started very well. Central just ran them down, particularly in that second quarter. McGowan with possession from the throw-in, just puts it up, and Sibanala comes out and takes a chest mark. So possibly here they come.
Here they come.
It's very, very important on clearances like that to play in front if you're ahead or behind of the footy. And Sibanala, I was just watching forward of the play. He sat himself in front when the quick kick came. He was the one who was able to react quickly and get first access to the footy.
Mark Stewart was punching to the boundary line, and McGowan read it beautifully.
And 20 metres out, no trouble for Sibanala. He converts. Central's second goal. 4-3-27 plays 2-1-13.
Interesting character, Eve Sibanala, 191 centimetres. It adds, I think, a reasonable dimension to the central forward line, particularly with Lockwood up there. They've got some height. McArdle jumps at everything. We saw him earlier in the game, perhaps jump at one that he shouldn't have, but yeah, McArdle's a leaper. You've got a couple of tall fellas there who can reach and compete at ground level. You've got McGowan, you've got a little bit of Slade, as we saw a moment ago on the chase. So I would have thought, as an observation, their balance up there is pretty good, and as the game wears on, you'd expect that to be valuable.
Well, they can rotate McArdle, Sibanala and Lockwood in any position. Gives them a fair amount of flexibility. 4-3-2-1, 14-point the margin, 22 minutes into the first term at West Adelaide. Hope you're enjoying this at home on ABC Sport. As Stewart again doing all the ruck work, takes it out of ruck, feeds it off to Hollands. Hollands just grubbers one through half forward. Hereda drops back on it. Scotty Hart came to kill him, couldn't quite connect. Quentin Graham out of trouble, pirouettes, drives one back deep into the attacking zone. Chris Gowans over the top of it with Stewart. Good Shepherd allows Dion Miles to crash through. Slade got him right on the button as he disposed of the ball, and a good mark, courageous mark taken by Chris Barrett at right half forward for West Adelaide. Let's see where Richardson goes. This time he goes deep to the pocket. 9 possessions to Barrett. Ed Richardson underneath this one, and Hereda again. Well, the West Adelaide forwards are completely playing into the Bulldogs' hands at this stage. They're playing wide and deep. Boundary line, the defender's friend, and Quentin Graham slows it down a little further afield. So the Bulldogs look to use the ball. Arnold comes far side, that's ignored. The lead is long and strong into the far side. It's 2-on-1 in the contest, but well done Hopwood. He is playing well. This fellow's a very clever player, and this fellow's not too bad either. Damien Hicks, through the middle he goes. Lockwood on his day, one of the best in the business. 3 last week in a return to form against Norwood, and he drills it beautifully. Sibanala on the lead, has marked about 45 metres out, Triggy.
Well, again, he presented himself well, and we've talked a couple of times with respect to West Adelaide and now with Central about leading up that centre corridor and not getting caught too far out wide. And this presents itself, you'd think, I don't want to put it on him, but really presents itself as a pretty straightforward kick. Distance might be against him, but he's opened up the face of goal, and from what I've seen so far, I reckon he'll carry it pretty easily.
Averages 2 goals a league game, and that one's just drifting slightly, but the goal umpire arches his back, indicates 2 fingers, it's still a goal, so 2 on the board to Sibanala, and the Bulldogs bite back.
Well, we've spoken about the value of having a tall player up there, but a player who presents himself in the lead's pretty valuable as well. Sibinala, look, that's a beautiful leg, isn't it? Just let it go. There's not a breath of wind here this afternoon at Richmond Oval. And let his leg go, just a little bit of right post in it, drifted back with the natural curve of the leg, and that's a beautiful kick. Started well.
Yeah, started well. And Central District didn't start well, but now they're only 8 points down. Deep into time on in the first quarter. Barrett gets it clear. Nathan running for him. He looks to Richardson on the lead. It doesn't get that far. Rutten has the ball knocked away by Hicks towards the boundary, content to see it over the line. And Stewart coming off the ground now. Hasn't been much interchange action, Michael.
No, they're just changing the ruckman off the bench for West Adelaide. Stewart taking a well-earned rest, played very well. They've done the same for Centrals, where Arnold has come off, Cowan has his turn running on the ball, as Richardson gets a chance. And it's not Richardson.
Rewarded coming the other way, Kasisi.
Yeah. Well, to be fair to the umpire, I reckon in the flesh it might have looked like it, but I reckon this ball's hit the ground in between. Oh dear. Well,
just the once.
just hit the ground the once, off the knee and then onto the ground. I think even the most objective observer would say that's a little bit lucky, but it's what the game's all about, isn't it?
Well, Kasisi will line up basically from straight in front. 20 metres out. And, well, he edged it across within a whisker of being a point, but he's content with a goal, and that's his second. So Westies just hit back.
Very important time to hit back too, Neil, by the way, because we're well into time on, and West Adelaide had just done all of the attacking. We felt that if they didn't convert their opportunities and make the most of them early in the game, that Central might come at them. They've come at them a bit quicker in the latter half of this quarter than we expected, but just to get a steadier gives them, if the siren goes sometime shortly, a real level of confidence going to the quarter-time break.
26.5 minutes gone, first term at Richmond Oval.
And David, just one point to note is that West Adelaide are actually kicking into what is a reasonably light breeze, but it is forecast to get stronger later in the day. So if that comes in, this is a good quarter for West Adelaide.
Luke Cowan grabbed the ball and went to ground. The umpire said he was swamped and had no opportunity to dispose of it. So Arnold off, Cowan on. A ruck change as Mark Stewart for West Adelaide has been dominating the ruck duels in this first term. Browski up and down, brings it down. Mellor forward into space, well done. Barrett about 55 out, and Hopwood over the top of him, mauling him. The little man showed great courage. 6 marks this quarter, geez, been terrific. And there's Shepherd, and Richardson will take the free kick. Umpire Kevin Chambers said 2-on-1 doesn't work when the arms are out, and Richardson couldn't get a run at the ball. No fear or favour, the whistle went to the mouth, and Adam Richardson will kick for goal from 20 metres out directly in front.
Yeah, Marty McKinnon, the player who I thought he did it pretty well actually. He was feigning, if you like, or making it look as though he was going for the mark, but again, just a little bit of luck going West Adelaide's way.
Adam Richardson, great kicking style, beautiful economy of style, and right through the middle he gets his first, the big man, and his teammates just show a little bit of appreciation. An important one for West Adelaide. They're 6-3, the Bulldogs are 3-1.
Well, 6 goals makes it a pretty good first quarter, doesn't it? Well, I've called that a bit lucky, but maybe the umpire's got it right in terms of the intentions of Marty McKinnon there. Just speaking of Marty, we haven't seen much of him so far, have we? I looked at some of last week's game against Nord, and he was a very, very good player, but he's been pretty inconspicuous so far in this game against the West Adelaide boys.
I think you'll find that, like most of the players, he came into it in the second half last week for Central, so 32 possessions last week, just the one possession thus far. McGowan, well, he was over the ball, now he's not. Coming the other way is Handlin, gets a hand pass out, eventually to Arnott. He's barely been sighted today.
He's been on the bench, to be fair.
Slade gets it forward again, out in front of McArdle, gathers, hand pass into the corridor, Guerra, chance, goal. Well, they're decisive, aren't they? When they get their opportunities, or incisive, should I say.
Entertaining game, isn't it? 10 goals in a quarter, and it started pretty tight so far as players minding each other very, very carefully, but the game's just split open in the latter half of this term, and the ball's just pinged from each end of the ground, and mostly has resulted in goals at each end. So pretty entertaining at the moment, and Central District with the opportunity to go in at quarter time with their tails up.
6-3 to 4-1, 29 minutes gone, plenty of time on, and 14 points the margin as Central District stay in touch. Dabrowski thumps it backwards. Hollands underneath this one, just turns it around the corner, and Mellor well down from the forward posting. Playing on the far wing at the moment, delivers the ball beautifully to Ed Richardson. He's about 65 out. Here comes Adam, down into the V, and bang, the big man will go up and down. Oh, that's a big one. Oh, Adam. Big man, big mark.
Certainly Rob Lucas fairly impressed.
And the siren sound as Adam Richardson takes one of the marks of the year.
David, we talked about it earlier, that if someone's going to present themselves and just block your run, get in the hole there, do the good team thing in terms of defensive action and stand in the way and provide support for Paul Geister, you just got to run straight into him and take the mark, and that is the perfect play. Now, from West Adelaide's point of view, must finish it off.
They're 14 points clear. Can he make it 20 as they go to the break? It's swinging back. Adam Richardson's got two, and West Adelaide lead at quarter time by 20 points.
Well, what a most entertaining quarter of footy. 11 goals. The first three were on the board to West Adelaide before Central seemed to be able to get it together and get some run and some movement. Then there was a flurry of goals for the Bulldogs, and I thought, well, Central District, you're going to run away with this game, and perhaps West Adelaide had thrown their best shot at it. But to their great credit, they rallied for the last couple of goals of the term, and as you can see, there's lots of confidence in that group at quarter time at Richmond Oval.
11-goal quarter, great football, great action on the ABC network as West Adelaide lead a 7-3 to Central District, 4-1. As umpire Kevin Chambers puts the ball down, here comes Stewart again, wins the tap. It falls Hamblin, quick one out of the centre. As he did in the first quarter, he got the first kick of the match. James Gowns almost had his shorts torn off. Holland's back to Toomey. A left footer around the corner into space. It's Cassisi with the ball set for him. Barrett gave a Shepherd and a little bit of space for Cassisi. He brings it back in towards Howard, who was also pretty good and challenging in the first quarter. Well, he was clever there, wasn't he? Because Hay overran him and he played on quickly, drives the ball in long. Richardson on the left boot, can he swing around just inside the line, over the top of it, playing with it, paddles it into space. Hahn picks it up on the left, drives it towards goal, he's hit the post. Well, great effort, but a point, just a little less of a reward that he would have liked.
Going back 30 seconds, the Central boys had all flooded forward. You could just see them trying to get a bit of the footy, get a taste and get a look at the goals. Cassisi sat back and another West Adelaide player sat back, and I think that would displease Alistair Clarkson no end, because he talked about accountability, which has been the cornerstone of their game, but no, they went looking for a cheap kick, and they want to change that, otherwise West Adelaide will keep on with this pattern of the game of controlling the footy.
Well, West Adelaide, they're in a pretty effective zone, and as a result, Holland's opportunity lead from Rutten takes the mark, and another shot for goal.
Yeah, there's no shortage of shots on goal at the moment, are there? And that coaching box, it's just saw Roy Laird standing at the back behind Alistair Clarkson. A bit of huffing and puffing going on in there at the moment because they're not getting it their way at all. And off a good win last week, you just wonder sometimes, don't you, whether 1% of complacency, you can pay the price. You might be selling West Adelaide short at the moment because they've been pretty good.
Well, Rutten with that unique style, which has twice failed him. A couple of steps in, bang.
I think it will fail him, particularly in wet, soggy grounds. That's as poor a run-up as I've seen for a set shot.
He's just got a bit of work to do on it, hasn't he? He's a young fellow who's got plenty of ability in terms of getting the footy, it would seem, and a bit of a physical presence about him, but you do need to finish off, and that's just practice. He'll just need to get out and spend hour upon hour and groove his technique.
I don't know how much he's played forward, but 13 games for 2 goals as Richardson takes another mark. He is supreme in the air, this fellow. And they tell me his eyes aren't, Stephen, as good as they could be. The Crows have had him tested.
Had him tested, but I think there's been a solution to that, so should be on the improve.
Mellor almost brought one down. McKinnon, 2 bites of the cherry. Pirouette's around. That could be on the ball. He took them on.
It probably should have been.
Well, the umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt, and fair enough, they've been pretty consistent with that. But if ever there was a time you would have thought there was one, two,
and then ditched it.
Well, perhaps he got the handball out. I think the umpire might have seen an attempt to handball, and the ball came clear. Rutten down the front. Joyce over the top of it. Quentin Graham mauling him, and McKinnon kicks it to the boundary line. So Central District revamping the old game plan of going to the boundary when under pressure.
Yes, they are, but you just look around the ground at the moment and they're very much doing as their coach is looking for, and that's just one-on-one and trying to work their way back into it.
22 points the margin. Well, he ducked his head there, and under all that, I think it might have been Quentin Graham.
That's the result, Neil, by the way, is that when you've got an instruction that says, well, just sit on your bloke until such time as you get a free ball, you tend to get this 1, 2, 3, 4 perhaps in a row bounce downs because everybody's at the footy and everybody's close to their opponent.
Well, Rutten did well and it was off the boot of Mellor. Eventually, though, Hay gets an opportunity to clear for Centrals, and coming from behind and basically taking out his own man, it's Chris Gowans. Well, it falls to Richardson. He tries to open it up by going to the far side of the ground. The tall man opposed to the smaller man, and the tall man goes to ground in Stewart for Westies, and as a result, Hicks comes away for Centrals, drives it wide, and out of bounds eventually, tracked over the line by Murray Hamblin.
Big guys just can't go to ground like that when they're in a one-on-one competition.
Comment Michael Parsons, former North Adelaide and Sydney ruckman.
Who never fell over in 200 games.
Oh, I don't like that.
Very observant, Stephen.
Hamblin to the boundary line. We've played 4.5 minutes in. You are very dry, aren't you?
No, I just... well, I'm doing this job, and that means I never made a mistake. Nice face, anyway.
Look, I
We
don't
should
know
do that
this.
for half-time, Crossy.
We'll get the love to paint your face, Tricky. Cassisi, left foot, turns it around the corner into space, working beautifully. Howard going forward into space, and a one-handed attempt by Richardson just failed. Rutten just inside the line. Hicks applying just a physical presence. Rutten goes to ground. Mellor now in turn Joyce. Joyce turned one around the corner. Where's Richardson? Big fellow's up and down. 2 bites of the cherry. Couldn't take it, but second and third efforts were good. Joyce handballed it away, and Hay goes to the boundary line. But I think he might have kicked it out of bounds on the full. He has.
He did, and I was just thinking that they're under a lot of pressure down there at the moment, Central District. They're working very hard to keep it in the area. Look at Richardson, just a little push with the elbows. Didn't quite hold onto it, did he?
No. 2 bites and didn't control it. So the umpire was right yet again. This will be interesting. Mellor is a left footer, and he's looking to feed off. Miles comes streaming down from the fence. That's ignored. Through half forward, Howard comes out. There's plenty of movement. They're trying to create a hole, West Adelaide. Not a bad discipline, but Mellor, the skipper, decides he's going to have a ping at him, and he lobs it right on the square where Richardson almost drags it down, but off hands it's across the line and through for a behind.
Well, again, they continue to be attacking and pumping it forward, and keeping Central District under some pressure, and it's going to count for a fair bit because the Dogs at the moment just can't quite get any free play going.
No, there's another example. They brought the ball in, but the second possession, always the key one from a kick in, and Centrals just can't get somebody clear, so forced to chip. Hopwood out to Graham at his feet, but he did well, picked it up, just chipped it forward. Here they go, just a little bit better. And, well...
50.
Yeah, you wonder about that. He got clipped after he'd taken the mark, Gowans, but well, you just wonder if it was worth that extra penalty. As he goes to half forward, it's opened up for Hereda. He got away from Richardson, took the mark. Now he looks into the central corridor, and all he finds is West Adelaide players. They almost conspire to lose it, and now they sweep to this side of the ground. Opportunity on the lead. And Hahn, great mark out in front of the eyes. In fact, it was Rutten. Only a difference of about 3 feet in those two players. But anyway, forward, into half forward again. Munn over the ball, taken to ground. Umpire will call for it.
It was a good mark from Rutten, wasn't it? Yeah, Damien Hicks was right there. Just have a look. There was no...
clean as a whistle.
No problem with Damien Hicks. He was right there, but it was a very, very good mark.
19-year-old with a big future, but a poor kick for goal. I guess that's an assessment that he'll need to work on, because it can make or break you. Richardson, this is Ed, thrown away out of the contest. Just couldn't quite get clear. Neither could Hahn, neither could Luke Nathan, but Joyce does. And turns it around the corner to Richardson, who takes front position, bustles hard. Hollands over the top, but gets dragged off. Hamblin gathers the ball, just drops it onto his toes, and Guerra streaks away out of a little bit of congestion and delivers it long and low to Lockwood, who dives and claims the mark. Now,
that's a con.
Well, the umpire was unsighted, wasn't he? But the crowd saw it clearly. The ball hit the ground.
It's one each.
One each, I guess you could say that, couldn't you? McGowan, off it goes to Chris Gowans. Has time for a bounce. Here comes Luke Nathan running him down. He drives it along towards the square. Can it bounce through? Right back on the last line of defence. Chubb gathers it in and kicks towards the boundary line. Did it pretty well, the big man.
Oh, that was really good footy. Guerra, if you just go back a little bit, just dropped the clutch and came screaming out of defence. He's really got some toe, and then found Lockwood. Okay, the mark wasn't there, but then Gowans, I thought, summed it up beautifully. They all came forward. He thought he'd have a ping at it, didn't bounce properly. West Adelaide defender. It was really pretty good stuff to watch.
Stewart too big, took it away, gave it to Howard. Howard gave it in turn to Hollins. He bounces his way through the middle. Well, nobody leading. Eventually he gets around one and he goes long to Richardson. Pulls it down. Good mark. Put his body in front. Another strong mark for Richardson.
Well, I reckon if I was Paul Geister, I'd ask for the runner. And I'd say, runner, go back to the bench.
Get me a ruckman.
And just see if somebody can get some pressure on up the ground there, because this bloke Adam Richardson can actually play a bit. If it comes in as easily as that, I don't have much chance back here. It's a terrible spot to play full-back like that.
Especially when Richardson's going to finish like that. That's his third. So Westies kick their eighth.
But he's leading
clear.
He's leading Triggy to the right area though, and they're honouring him.
Well, I think what happens, Dave, is if you get a quick entry in there like that, you can offset the back playing ruckman. He just travelled too quickly for Arnold, is it on the moment, who just couldn't get back in time. So that allows him to be one-on-one like that. But it's just too easy, too free on the entry. And he's a big boy, Adam Richardson. He's pretty hard to get over, and if you get a clean go at it, he's going to kick his third. This is a bit of a break now. Central District need one, and they need one pretty smartly.
And Alistair Clarkson looking for some action on his forward line, taking McArdle off, who wouldn't have worried the statisticians too much, replaced by Stevens.
Well, he hasn't had much opportunity, to be fair, Michael. The ball's really hardly come in. Just the one handball to McArdle, so your assessment of his first quarter and a half has been pretty fair. McKinnon gives it back to Guerra, who has got a ton of pace, and a kick to match, and it's a beauty to Lockwood. He's about 40 out, the angle's tight, but his best kick would certainly do the job.
Yeah, look, I think Alistair's got it right in terms of the way he's viewing his team at the moment, is that they're getting enough, perhaps the centre half forward, and it's bouncing out of there. It's a bit like the bank vault. They haven't quite got the combination. Maybe they need a bit of dynamite to blow it open.
3 last week in a return to form, and just stumbled or stuttered as he came in on the run and dragged it to the left and just got a point.
Yeah, we've seen some of that today, haven't we? Just didn't get free-flowing and online and let the leg go. And he was a better player than that. Central District be cursing the fact that he couldn't kick it.
So they bring it, well, they're trying to bring it with some sort of method out of defence. Central District closes it down. McKinnon, snap over the head, put it into good space for Gowans, but he couldn't take possession. Howard, he's had a ton of possession. Kicks it long, but unfortunately that's going to be, well, it should have been a straight turnover. Cowan does a 360, picks it up. Westies are tough, and I'll tell you what, there's no easy possession there. Eventually the umpire comes in, says I'll have a bounce, and the crowd very appreciative of that little bit of play.
Yeah, it was good, it was hard, and umpire might have missed one there in terms of pushing the back, but at the same time, they let him go at it. Would I be right in saying at the moment that McKinnon and the Gowans boys have been okay, but they need to lift their games pretty significantly at the minute?
Well, I think one Gowans going all right, Chris is going all right, but James is struggling, and McKinnon, who really hasn't found much in the way of form so far in this match, gets a chance to redeem because he's marked about 40 out directly in front.
I suppose the comparison is between what McKinnon and James Gowans and Ricky McGowan have done, and we know they're all quality players, versus what you've said, and Barrett, Dean Howard have played brilliantly so far. So, you know, this midfield thing, they just have to lift their game in the middle of the ground.
Fair comment. And McKinnon drags it off to the right, just inside the scoring zone. And Stewart tried to toe poke one through. Stacks on the mill. Miles is there. So too James Gowan for the Bulldogs. And the umpire will come in and bounce.
West Adelaide would love to get this one in front of their home crowd. And the next 11 weeks, they only played 2 games here at Richmond Oval, so it's a pretty tough draw. And it really means they've got to get this one in the bag.
Howard got out the handball. McGowan, slick work. McKinnon turning it around the corner, driving the ball forward. Just try and earn it. Yep, thanks for that, Crossy. On the left and across the face of goal. Who'd want to be a goal umpire, Triggy?
If the money's okay.
It's SANFL you're talking about, Tricky, not the AFL
No,
triple dollars that you're used to.
it's a good look, isn't it, by the way? I know that there's been a fair bit made of the cap cam, goal umpire cam this year. It's a good look at the action. Except for the bloke who was always shaking his head. I watched one week and you just got a panorama of the ground every time.
Which week was that?
Well, he must have been disagreeing with somebody, but just went from one side of the ground to the other very smartly.
Well, start them young at West Adelaide, don't they? Young fan and a good crowd at Richmond Oval.
Certainly enthusiastic, the home crowd at the moment. Centrals fighting hard in there. McGowan dispossessed and struggle, bite, scratch. Finally, ball comes out. McKinnon off the right leg, snap forward behind.
Just not getting a clean possession, are they? They're having to work for it. Sometimes you have to do that for a while before the game breaks open for you. The problem for the Bulldogs at the moment, though, is they've got to make up. Well, they've got to kick 5 to get back in front.
King in the direction of Chubb, but Stevens used the hit pretty well. Just gave himself a little nudge and an advantage. Uses the ball beautifully. Underneath this one, McKinnon running into space. Munn couldn't get back to cover him, and the kick was centimetre perfect.
Now, has he been sent forward? Because I mean, you don't know in footy these days. He may have been coming off the half back line and running in, but it looks like McKinnon's been sent forward now.
It looks to me as though he went. I was watching him at centre wing and the bounce down, and I thought for a moment maybe he'd gone to centre wing, but I suspect it's at half forward. And he's a pretty good kick, so you'd expect this one to be a result.
Oh, and it's a beautiful kick, drifting late, but still through. Marty McKinney gets his first, and the Bulldogs really start to step it up and take up the challenge to West Adelaide. They're 5-3, West Adelaide 8-6.
McKinnon's first for the day, and he's, as we said, with 32 possessions last week, a very, very good player. Lots of experience. Can find the footy. The problem for the Bulldogs, part of the problem at the moment, is if you're not going to win enough ball in the middle of the ground, it's not going to help McKinnon, who, Neil, by the way, is playing out of a forward pocket now. I think he's gone further forward than he did at the last bounce. So if they can get enough of the ball down there, they've now got some real quality up forward in terms of getting hold of the ball.
Well, can't get hold of the ball there. Coming through is Cassisi, but he is besieged and can't work his way free. Hamblin hanging on for dear life there. Rewarded with a bounce. Michael Flynn on the phone, no doubt, to the coaches up the top there, and it's
Dabrowski
presented with a change. Dabrowski about to come on by the looks. Well, Stevens with a turn, comes clear, kicks it back up forward for Centrals. Oh, coming through Symes, did well, kept it in front of him. Will he get a possession? Well, he should. He's rewarded. Well done. Now Joyce, he's been good. Kicks it off the half-back line, up the half-forward. And from behind, big leap. Hicks, good mark.
No.
And there was a slight nudge on Rutten.
Call to the push.
Oof.
No. Don't take that out of our game, umpire.
Well, they did that time. It's gone across the far side of the ground. Coming clear is Slade. Takes a couple of bounces. He could have a couple more, but instead he goes in short to Lockwood. Lockwood, the ball just knocked away. Now it's on the ground. Umpire will call for it.
What's your view of that mark, Triggy?
I must admit I thought it was a mark, and it's a fine line, though, for an umpire, to be fair, between what's a blatant push and then going up and taking a mark. As we watch it again, he certainly had the hands in the shoulder, but you wouldn't say that he really got in the way of him or impacted him.
No, you can't take that out of our game, Crossy, can you?
I don't know. I think if the rule's there and he does touch him, whether he impacts him or
Knock
not,
it off,
if the
Crossy.
letter of the law is there.
Mate, send him home.
Count it out. Thank you, Michael Parsons.
Send him home. It's football.
Voice of reason.
Michael's never been up that high. Never mind. Go on with the match.
He has, don't worry about that. Gowans, that was Chris type to McGowan. Well, is it working for them just at the moment? Arna gets it over the top to Lockwood, who runs inside 50, drills it long and low, and underneath this one, the mark has been taken by Gowans. This time, it's James.
It was a good kick, you know, because I was watching James Gowans and his arms were going everywhere as if to say, give me the ball, give me the ball. And he came charging through the centre corridor, making a beeline for goal. And I was thinking to myself as that was happening, nah, there's not enough space there. There's not enough space. And the kick was just so good, it didn't matter.
So James Gowans, who hasn't got one today, averages a little bit better than a goal a game. 27 goals from his 23 games, and he adds one today. point blank range, and the Bulldogs are mounting a real challenge as he gets his first.
And a much needed goal, wasn't it? 8-6 to 6-3 now. You've got a hand at the Central in terms of the context of the game. They're not really out of it, are they? You felt like West Adelaide have done all the attacking, and yet, as is symptomatic of a quality side, when Central are going forward, they're actually scoring. The last entry was a McKinnon goal, and then another one to James Gowan. So a good quality side like this always stays in the hunt.
Last week against Norwood, 4-1 in the second term from Central's on the way to a big victory. So watch with interest how this quarter pans out. Howard comes clear yet again for Westies and gets it up to the big boy Richardson. Another mark.
It could be the difference today, this fellow.
It's a good game, isn't it, though? I mean, I have to say I'm enjoying it just because it's a bit of the old game of chess.
It's a shootout, this one.
Pushing and shoving. It's really pretty entertaining stuff. And yes, he could be the difference. I'm just starting to wonder whether Paul Geister might be for the move sometime shortly, because this guy really, if he gets on top of you, can hurt.
And he hasn't hurt him this time. Just a minor score, and he's kicking himself after that one.
Very laconic. And paid the price for it. Hicks, short one over the top. Arnott, who's come off the bench and has made a bit of an impact over the top to McGowan, who's running freely now. Not much attention to him, but under pressure, he got a little bit of excess from Joyce, and the kick's out of bounds on the full.
Should we be surprised that Arnott started on the bench?
I think we should. His form last week was pretty good.
Looked okay to me, and sometimes that happens just to get the matchups right on the ground, but I'd have thought his experience would have seen him start.
Ed Richardson drives it back deep into the pocket. Adam Richardson caught underneath that ball. At the back, it's Hay who mops up just inside the defensive line.
Look out.
Well, plenty of pressure, and the kick has gone out of bounds. Great work back there by Hahn to bring him to ground and force the ball to the boundary.
It's a good chase, wasn't it?
Well, you criticised him earlier, Hahn, for not having a fair whack, and that time couldn't be criticised.
No question.
Rutten, hand pass out. This is an area they've done well, Westies. In the rucks, in and around the scramble. And Richardson's done well at full forward. He pulls down another one.
What's encouraging about that is you are allowed to turn around and push this guy in the chest like that. Just hold him up with one arm. It's probably touched in between, but you're going to get those paid to you. But what I liked about that is that you are allowed to be a little bit physical with your opponent when you mark the ball.
And just as importantly, well, he's happy with the result. I was a bit doubtful for a moment, but he's kicked his fourth. So the Westies fans are up 9-7, 61 to 6-3, 39.
I'm not suggesting for a moment they're in the same class, but if you have an image, a mental image of the way Stephen Kernahan played the game, often he would look at his opponent and then just give a push in the chest at the last minute and then put those big arms up and mark the ball. And it's perfectly within the rules at
Jason
the last
Dunstall's
second.
Probably the best.
Yeah, the last second, you just give him a push in the chest and get him off you. And you can just create that little bit of space. Probably a little bit lucky there, but that's just the way you'd like to see Richo taking some marks up forward.
Dabrowski from the left. Gowan from Cowan from the right. And McGowan. Gee, it's tough.
Not to mention the Gowans.
Oh, God. And Hollands just toe pokes one into a little bit of space. Hay just grubbers it further afield, looking for the boundary line, and quite content to just shovel it forward in a little bit of space, where Arnott gets it back to McGowan, who was taken high. No doubt that was a free kick. The umpires have been looking today for players ducking, and they haven't fallen for the two-card trick. Quentin Graham into a little bit of space. Dabrowski side skirts one, takes on two, gets claimed and holding the ball. The umpire had no choice.
It's a good tackle, and it was a good decision in the end as well. And we talked about Central's intensity. Both of them are really having a crack at it at the moment. It's making for an entertaining contest.
Slade's tackle was terrific. Joyce did pretty well getting through Howard, gets support from Barrett, but just misses the target. Hollands needs it further afield, drifting to a fair bit of space, and going forward was Munn. Hay missed it, Barrett didn't, he gets it back. Slade's applied another tackle. His tackling count today has been fantastic, Slade, and he's done the job for them.
Well, the most obvious one was the chase, wasn't it?
And he got a goal from that one.
The chase and the resultant goal, but yeah, it goes unrewarded sometimes, but it's very, very important for your team.
I think I read last week that Matthew Slade's the top tackler in the league to this point in the season.
I think he'll probably stay up there, Michael, after today too.
Well, besides anything else, when he makes a tackle, it sticks, and you can't miss it. If you're doing the stats, you can't miss it.
Interesting thing is he's only a little fella, isn't he? It's not as though he's a man mountain, but he's just in and at it. I suppose, you know, a coaching tip is always look at the hips and go at them. Well, his shoulders are at most blokes' hip height, so he's probably going to have a fair crack at it.
22 points the margin. Howard bustles his way through again. This time, though, he turns it over. Hamblin gets the foot to the ball, drives it forward. And, oh, good mark. Just got his player under the ball, Toomey.
He looks a better player in defence, Crossy. Last year he struggled in the middle.
Well, Toomey drives it along the flank and coming to the front end, Richardson. Gee, they look good when they're doing this. Westies. Well, he just has a look up forward. Nothing much on offer. Rutten comes across, puts up the big arms. And coming through is Hahn. Gets it out to Hollands. Has a look. No, hand pass. Hahn. Chance. Snap. Just away. Just couldn't steady himself enough. Minor score. 23 points now the margin.
That would have been exceptional because to have snared it like that and then still keep your balance and kick truly would have been quite remarkable. That, in the end, just not surprisingly, slewed off the inside of the boot. But they're putting pressure on, aren't they? They're running hard. And Central are being forced to chase.
And the Hollands handball was behind him, which made it a little harder again. He had to stop prop. Ed Richardson, gee, doesn't he make an impact, this fellow, when he attacks the ball? Exciting player. 6 marks to him today. Goes long and deep to the goal square. Right on the last line of defence. So Hicks is up and down, takes the mark, plays on quickly, pushes into a little bit of space where Bevis, who's come onto the ground, this little fellow, he was a real impact player last week. When they were struggling against Norwood, he came on and really gave them an impact. Miles over the top. Chris Gowans claims him. Couldn't get clear, and the umpire no choice but to bounce. We're 25 minutes into the second term. It's 23 points the margin in favour of West Adelaide, and I guess the bookies would be just rubbing their hands.
Bevis, you mentioned David came on for James Gowans, and there was a double change at the same time. You'll notice number 5, big Damien Arnold, back on the ground, replacing Cowan.
For that, Michael, and well, Gowans, one of the smaller players doing the ruck work. Chris Gowans for Centrals. On the ground, Guerra tries to steamroll through. Gets rewarded with a free kick. Too high. Guerra looks up towards the lead of McKinnon. Just a little wide, out of bounds. Bustling West Adelaide is leading this match by 23 points.
Ricky McGowan coming off the ground and just thinking that they're still not really getting enough out of that on-ball brigade. They're perhaps going through a set rotation to keep the legs fresh in the middle of the ground, but I reckon Alistair Clarkson will be, without any doubt, looking for a bit more from his midfielders.
Cassisi, one of the opposition midfielders, gets the ball up and clear, and Joyce, well, he's been impressive in his debut, but unfortunately lost the footing there. Now it's Hay for Centrals, comes the other way. Just the high kick.
Good luck.
Tracking it was Stevens. Awkward bounce. Favours Nathan. Opportunity.
Wow.
Well, great comeback from Stevens. He smothered the ball off the boot. Out of bounds. Crowd very, very appreciative of that passage.
Oh, and so they should be, because it's not a great lesson. Instead of giving up on it and saying, oh, I've got a crook bounce, I'll leave it be, the ball's still in their forward line. They get another shot on it. Like this.
Stevens comes clear off the left boot. Great kick.
It's funny, Crossy, how it works, isn't it? Because would you describe that as football karma? Or, you know, the footy gods shining on you? Because Stevens did the hard work, and lo and behold, next thing you know, he's got a free possession. It just sometimes works that way, doesn't it?
Well, not sometimes. I suppose that's why you're going to call it footy karma.
Oh, it is. You know, you get what you deserve, and you do the hard work like that. Every now and again, the cheap one falls into your arms.
I think that's another Malcolm Blight hand-me-down, isn't it?
The footy gods is, yeah. I call it karma.
So Lockwood, he's taken a bit of time. He puts it up into the goal square. Obviously, well, from behind, Guerra takes the mark. Well, Lockwood wasn't confident, neither's Guerra by the looks of that. Just looking inboard. Now he settles down, nobody loose.
Yeah, on his left boot, he could nearly ping this. And he's going to have
he has to now.
But he can't play on.
No. Certainly can't run around. He has to keep his line and kick over the man on the mark. Now, you gurus know the rules pretty well. What if he goes offline? Does he get another shot, or is it going to be...
If he goes offline, it's dead. It's all over Red Rover. The umpire pulls him up cold.
10 out of 10.
Trouble is, does Brent Guerra know that? We're about to find out. Right foot, banana ball. Well, that wasn't expected from the left footer. That's his second goal. Well, that's not a bad way to go to half-time, Steve.
It's a great way to go to half-time, and it's been a great half of footy, I have to confess. 9-8 to 7-3. We've seen 16 goals scored. The ball's zipped up and back and forth. We've seen lots of hard contests. At the moment, just that little edge, that little difference perhaps coming from the midfield of West Adelaide, who have had Barrett and Howard in really good form, and the Central boys not quite getting as much of the footy forward. When West Adelaide have gone forward, they've had a pretty good time of it with Adam Richardson. If they keep getting enough ball, he continues to be a potent forward for them. West Adelaide might just pull off a surprise.
So 17 points the margin as we go into half-time on ABC Sport. West Adelaide 9-8, the Bulldogs 7-3. In ruck from the right, Mark Stewart for West Adelaide. Gets this one down. Howard, who's been very good in the first half, takes possession, gets the ball clear, and Mellor pounced upon as he gathered in the ball, and the umpire will come in and bounce again. Chris Gowans jumps up, who applied the tackle. Umpire Richard Fox will put the ball to ground. And plenty of players around the ball. You can just see that the opening goal of this quarter, I think, is the big one everyone's looking for. Mellor to Hollands is good play. Arnold gathers it away, running hard from half-back with Simon Arnott, who delivers it towards half-forward. Chubb crashed through, couldn't take the ball with him. Good physical contest in the midfield as Stevens flicks it out, goes to the back door. Arnold couldn't quite control it. The big man gathers it in, tries to get a handball away. Quentin Graham does so. Cassisi lost his footing, goes to ground and crashing through, doing it pretty well. Appeared to be Joyce. He's claimed. Hay got him. Away goes the handball. Cassisi goes to ground, ball tucked underneath him. And what does the umpire say? I'll have a bounce, fellas.
I have to say, I really like the way the SANFL umpires interpret that rule. At the moment in the AFL, it's dynamite. If you're anywhere near lying on the ground and dare to lay a glove on the ball, you end up getting pinged. And there's got to be some level of sensibility about that.
I guess the rule, Crossy, was if you drag it back in, not if it ends up underneath you.
I think that's fair games. If you blatantly drag it back under and make no attempt,
that's it, all over.
Then you cop it. But at the moment, what you're finding at the other grade of competition is that any lay a glove on the ball at all and try and distribute it, go and get the footy, you get penalised. And it's just, there's a bit of balance there.
Well, Central's trying to switch the play, but in the end, a lot of pressure from Westies. Finally, they managed to come clear and go long with a kick over the back and on the ground again. Important first goal, second half, you would think, tell the trend of the match.
Very much so. Just while it's in the middle of the ground, David read some stats at half-time, but if you just think of where the edge is at the moment, there's not much in it, just less than 3 goals, is that Hollands has his 18 possessions, but the top 3 possession gatherers for West Adelaide, Hollands, Barrett and Howard.
Joyce.
The top couple for Central, McGowan and Chris Gowans. You've basically got an extra player in the middle of the ground for West Adelaide who's providing some impetus and some push. And that's probably the difference between the sides at the moment, because at either end of the ground, it's all been pretty even.
It's been even so far in the third quarter. Graham just knocking the ball away from Greg Mellor. All back into play. The 2 number 5s. And Stewart from Westies got it down to Barrett. Just hooks it over the top. Put his player under pressure, Hahn, and, well, it looked like it was going out. Barrett follows up. Quick kick. Hopwood in the road for Centrals, and now they'll try and flick it this side of the ground. Well, perhaps not, at least through the centre corridor, and cutting the ball out. Howard comes, knocks it away. Cassisi gets it back to Howard, shows it. Now he's dispossessed, dropped it. And now a free kick to James Gowans, just chips it up short to his brother. Who else? Now to Hamblin, running through half forward. Opportunity for a goal. Good start for Central District in the second half. The first goal of the second half, and Hamblin's first for the game. And they edge a little bit closer.
Good running movement, wasn't it? The pressure was on, but the run and the movement was there, the support. That's taking a bit of a risk in a way, but at the same time, it's creating some footy. And it was a very, very good kick on the run as well. So You talked about it, Neil, the first goal being important. Instead of West Adelaide blowing it out to 4 and making, a big question mark there, all of a sudden it's closed up to within 11 points.
Hamlin, who missed one in the opening seconds of the first quarter, identical to that, nails that one. Stewart thumps it down, hand crashes through and turns it around the corner into a little bit of space where the lead is offering from Rutten, but the ball beats him across the line.
You've supported his case a couple of times today, Hahn, and I know that Daryl Hart at North Adelaide was very, very keen to get him when he was contemplating leaving Port Adelaide, just because of pure first possession gathering ability. Genuine engineering construction work in the middle of the ground of first getting the ball is a bit of a rare commodity. And young Hahn's definitely got the ability to do all that, hasn't he?
Well, I think that's what he's brought to West Adelaide. If you have a look at his goal scoring capacity this year, he's kicked 20 goals, 10. And pretty fair. You get Richardson, Ed Richardson starting to score some goals. Mellor amongst that mix. You're starting to have a pretty potent forward line. And Hahn just adds a nice edge to that.
And Triggy, might be interested to know that Daryl Hart was actually here earlier today, and he may still maintain an interest in Scotty Hahn, but I think he's also got an interest in a couple of the Central's seconds players as well.
Just noticed that he left just before the start of this game, Michael, so my quip to him before he left was, did you see any that you liked?
Well, I guess in the reserves for Central today, he saw Michael Wakelin, Joseph Hicks, Kynan Ford, David Lillico, Daniel Wakelin and Brenton Daniel. So it's a star-studded Bulldog reserves lineup, Tricky.
But if you want a subset of what he wants, it's just that Hahn type. He's someone who gets the footy.
Like Slade. Could use him because he is a tough nut, this young fella. Play on. Here we go. Hamlin forward to Lockwood into a little bit of space. Now where's the kick gone? It's a beauty. The kick was sensational, McArdle.
I don't know the Westies fans will be too happy about what happened back here on the wing. There was probably a free kick to Kasisi as he was dragged off the play, and that allowed Centrals to sweep down.
Interesting that Central coach Alistair Clarkson has gone back to McArdle.
Yeah, you want to watch a bloke kick for goal. Watch this fellow. Stays low over the ball, follows through, and a great kicking style. Ben Rutten from West Adelaide could take a copy of this. Now, regardless of what he does with the kick, he has got a terrific kicking style. Well, you don't get it any better than that, do you? As McArdle gets his first Butte kick, penetrating right through the middle.
We talked about the bump. Neil was talking about the bump a moment ago. It's a fair bump, and we didn't quite see the Kasisi one. But at the same time, it's a good pass from Lockwood, isn't it? He really zipped one in earlier to James Gowans, and that was a pretty good kick as well. And as David said, one of the real lessons in that is just run straight at your target, and you could just see you ran straight on line at the right goalpost. As I said, beautiful kick.
That's his first for the afternoon. McArdle, the ball back in the middle. And Centrals, you would think the doggies are closing. Kasisi comes away though for Westies. Gets it out to Nathan. Just kicks it up forward. Rutten on the lead. Strong in front, and his opponent, Hicks, was forced to free kick.
Well, the doggies' record coming from behind Crossy is pretty good.
And they certainly did it pretty well last week against, well, Norwood side at that stage was unbeaten. In dispute, Richardson off the right leg. How's his snap? Pretty ordinary. I know he's under pressure, but it didn't go anywhere, did it, really?
4 goals, 3.
Yep, 4 goals in the opening half of footy. Still, Adelaide would be pleased with that. Gowans comes clear, chips it up. McKinnon, he's been moved up forward, looks wide, turns on his left leg, and he's got a runner out there. That's Arnott, goes inside half forward. McArdle on the lead, from behind King knocks it away. Inside the 50, King manages to scramble it clear, but Stevens intercepts it. Well done by Chubb on the ground, holds it in. Umpire will take possession.
I tell you what McArdle did very well then, Triggy, is he tackled his opponent, put him to ground and then ran 30 yards the other way. As we go to the half-time scores at other ovals, the Eagles by 4 points over Sturton. Don't the Double Blues need that one?
Oh, too right. South by 21, it's a good start for them as well.
And Port Adelaide play North Adelaide tomorrow. That's why Daryl Hart was here having a look today at Richmond Oval.
Quentin Graham comes away for Centrals. Just drives it up forward. Chubb in best position from behind. Gets it to ground. Slade. Quick, slick hand pass. Arnott. Good entry, but over the back, Symes will clean it up for West Adelaide. They'll come clear. He's got Nathan in space on the far side of the ground. Does well to hook it back into the centre corridor. That's Barrett. Off the ground, Greg Mellor.
And first run in league football for Nicholas Malinovsky. Don't get it wrong.
Just say that again, Michael, for us. Malinovsky, is that what you're saying?
I'm waiting for you to say it quickly, under pressure.
There he is, the kid from Renmark, 20-year-old. No doubt he's a rover, Triggy, just having a look at him.
Not much of him, is there?
The Renmark Rovers, Nicholas Michael Malinovsky. McGowan scrambles it off the left leg forward. McKinnon comes across, holds it in play, creates what he hopes is an opportunity. Eventually, Westie's struggling. Chubb again, over the ball.
Now, Crossy, where did you get Nicholas Michael from?
I can't remember. I was looking it up last night trying to find out who the hell he was. And I wrote down Michael Malinovsky, and then I realised that what I was looking at was his full name, Nicholas Michael Malinovsky. So there you go. 5 points the difference. 10 minutes into the third term, Westies lead it.
If he gets a few kicks, you know, he'll be a cult hero. With a name like that, it's like Jezelenko, isn't it? There's a good grab taken by King, who's done a terrific job today on McArdle. The match-up's been pretty good there by Ian Borchard. Cassisi's finding plenty of the ball, the 18-year-old. Been a great battle with Hamblin. And Howard, it's a 25-metre penalty if McArdle's not very careful.
Did it well though, Howard, by the way. He just ran, he put his head down and he ran as hard as he possibly could to get the space, and
Has he got an AFL future, Triggy?
Well, he's had one little taste of it. He's had a couple of games at AFL level. It's not beyond the realms of possibility to get another go.
Arnold dishes out the handball. McGowan in turn had running support from Stevens. Stevens tips one towards centre half forward. Underneath this one, James Gowns. He stands his ground pretty well, this fellow. Very few people shift him when he takes position. The kick was beautifully smothered, wasn't it, by Toomey. Loose ball falls. Lockwood dishes out the handball. Hamblin, 50 and standing. One step and goes bang towards goal. It's drifting back, but not enough. A point the result. The Bulldogs just edge a little closer.
Pressure time now for West Adelaide, isn't it? They're under pressure. They've got to stand up. If they let the Bulldogs get a little break here, I think they're going to be in a lot of trouble running into the last quarter.
There's always going to be the big question, Michael, about whether they could sustain the intensity. They came out and they played, I suppose, angry footy, and they really applied themselves well. They ran hard, but keeping it up against a side that's been there, done that, is always going to be the question. Not beyond them, though, by the way, because the way I saw Dean Howard put his head down a moment ago, there's a real resolve there.
Far side, Chubb over the top with a mark. Another product of the Riverland. Just off one step, goes long, looking to get it forward quickly.
Right.
And Hahn works his player under the ball, and Hopwood. So Hahn now, he'll look for Richardson up forward. Richardson leads into that pocket, just gets behind, pushes his player under the ball, roved, and a goal to West Adelaide. No.
That was your boy, Nicholas Michael Malinovsky. He's hit the post, and wouldn't that have been a dream debut, kicking a goal with your first kick?
Speaking to Ian Borchard before, that is apparently what he does exceptionally well. A natural rover, he calls him. Just knows where the ball's coming off the pack.
McKinnon from half-back drills it through the middle. Stevens underneath this one, dishes out the handball. The runners, Harada, drifting down from half-back. This is where the Bulldogs are dangerous. When they get their defensive zone running, they're unstoppable. And McArdle drifts free, and he'll kick for goal from point-blank range. 20 metres, slight angle. McArdle already has one.
On your television screen, you'd be thinking, how could he be so free? But what he did was very clever, was that he led almost to where the camera is, stopped, West Adelaide player ran past him, and then he just doubled back and found himself with space, maybe 20 metres of space. 17
goals for the year, 3 in the real wet last week against Norwood, and that's a good leg. McArdle's got his second, and the Bulldogs hit the front. They're a point clear of West Adelaide after trailing for the entire match.
It's interesting business, coaching. If you take McArdle off the ground during the second quarter because you don't feel as though he's offering enough up forward, and then take a punt on him at half-time and put him back on the ground, you've got to know your player pretty well, don't you? You've got to know how he's going to react. You've got to know where the game is situated. And that's a pretty, it's not a bold thing to do, but it's pretty ballsy to put him back up forward and say, right, let's have another go at it. And he's kicked 2 goals in the third term.
Well, at the end of the day, when the ball's being delivered out of the centre, it always helps your cause as a full forward. Hamblin up to McCardle again, just over the back of him, and Toomey will make sure it goes through for a behind. And in fact, it might not be a behind. No, that's a free kick.
McCardle.
Yep, just the man we were talking about.
But he's making a nuisance of himself, isn't he? Just stopped Howard a few moments ago, kicks a goal, and then just applies a physical presence.
It does. And there's Joyce. He's applied a pretty good presence today on occasion. Play on. That was going to be a free kick. McGowan takes his time, chips it over the top. Well, he thought about it and he did play on. James Gowan's goal all the way to Central District. That's James Gowan's second. And the pressure's now on as Central's kick 7 points clear.
We talked earlier in the game about the fact that when you play a side like Central who are confident, they've got lots of experience, you know that they're very much a quality side because of a premiership last year, they're always going to stay in it. And James Gowans was the best player on the ground last week. You'd say today it's been a poor performance from him, but you know, in the twinkling of an eye, he's kicked 2 goals, he's made his contribution, he's done the hard things in the middle of the ground, and that's why they're still in the game. And West Adelaide now, as Michael said a moment ago, are faced with an acid test. If they're to stay in this game now, they need a goal and they need some really hard work in the middle of the ground.
9-9 to 11-4. West Adelaide have got the job in front of them. Central District are running from their defensive zone and sharing the ball around. That's when they're at their most dangerous. Stewart in ruck for West Adelaide. Can he propel them forward? But it's Arnold who dribbles the ball forward. Joyce, claimed by McGowan, goes to ground, paddles it forward. Cassisi just clear, shrugs the tackle and delivers it wide towards right half forward. Big fly up and down, not bringing the ball down was Hicks. Clever work dishing it out was Rutten and Barrett, and in turn it's Adam Richardson. Well, they need the big man and they need him kicking goals in the second half. He kicked 4 to half time, but hasn't got one yet in this second half.
You speak about the big men, David. West Adelaide have just changed their ruckman off the bench.
Didn't look like Mark Stewart was all that keen to come off, Michael.
15-minute mark of each of the quarters so far. He has sauntered over to the line for an interchange.
4 goals, 3 to Adam Richardson. The goal umpire has a good look. Richo likes it. The West Adelaide cheer squad like it. It's a goal. Richo's got 5. And now the Bloods are back within a point.
I think you'll find when you think back through the entirety of the game, Cassisi was back 2 or 3 plays through the half-back line. He's been pretty influential, Cassisi, in the middle of the ground in terms of getting the footy, and then his use of it's pretty good. And then when it finally went forward, Richo, pace isn't his real caper, but he was able to just get his big frame in front. That's important. Gave himself first go at the footy.
West Adelaide's last effort here, a 1-point loss to Port Adelaide. And I know Ian Borchardt, the coach, said, well, close enough isn't good enough. And this afternoon, they've had Central's pinned, but now the margin is 1 point in favour of Central District. So the challenge is there. Just waiting for another bounce and another interchange with Bevis waiting to come on the ground. First hand to the ball, I think, might have been Dabrowski. Doesn't matter in any case. There's too many bodies in there to get it out.
Guerra, the player to come off.
He hasn't had a lot of game time with Port Adelaide either, Triggy, has he?
No, but I think it is just part of the big picture is that Bevis gets a run in the middle of the ground, fresh legs. We've seen McGowan come off. We've seen James Gowan come off. It's pretty much an in vogue theory at the moment, isn't it? Just to try and keep fresh legs in and around the ball.
Bevis, just off camera, went straight across to take Howard. So perhaps that's part of the rotation on Howard as well. And a free kick to Ed Richardson. So opportunity for Westies to take the lead here. 17 minutes into this third term.
I should say that he needs to kick this now, not just because West Adelaide need the goal, but he sauntered off with his back to the play, and there were a couple of players who streamed down into the forward line and probably had enough space to kick it to them. So if you're going to back yourself from 50 and ignore a couple of leads, you want to kick it.
Going to have a crack, lines it up, gives it a good ride. The players, well, there was an early applause for the kick, but unfortunately it's hit the post. So he's done everything but kick it.
And the scores at the moment, I reckon, are a very true reflection of the contest that we've seen this afternoon. It's all tied away at 70 points apiece. And aren't we set up for a terrific last 40 minutes of the game?
Graham to Hopwood to Hicks. In turn, Harada really drifting down now. look to play on, does so now successfully. Dishes it out, Arnott gets it back to Hereda. Support comes from Hay, running hard from defence. Well, we're worried about them when they do that. Well, they look dynamic when they do. McGowan chips it up onto the run of McArdle. Where's King? Good enough to thump it away. He's done a pretty good job today on McArdle. Slade, slick work to Hamlin, turning it around the corner. Bevis turns it back. It's a goal! That is a big goal. Bevis gets his first. And the Bulldogs are 6 points clear.
West Adelaide just lost their players for a moment. You could see them working back. There's no problem with the work. But they are almost zoned up back there. They sent some numbers back, but didn't really have accountability of man for man just for a moment. And Bevis was able to sneak away, and it was a pretty good kick in the end, but primarily because he was able to get free. And West Adelaide took their chances. They ran forward. That's what happens when the ball turns over or a mistake's made. It rips back.
And Stephen, I'd point my finger a little bit at the half-forward line of West Adelaide then. The run just wasn't there in the defensive action.
Arnold gets the tap down. McGowan gets a hand pass out. Arnott in turn across to Stevens. Opportunity back in the middle for Graham. He's sitting, waiting. Hands it off. Hotwood from the half-back line kicks it inside. Another forward 50 entry, and McArdle does well at the front. No mark. Now it's Lockwood over the ball. Harassed. Chubb comes at him. McKinnon with the ball. Stolen away by James Gowans. On the ground again, Chubb for a big man. He spent a lot of time there. Umpire says, I'll have the ball. Well, who had first hands there?
Did pretty well, McArdle, to get himself in the front spot and give himself a chance. Would have been a tough one to call.
So at the bounce, McKinnon it was who won that one. Chris Gowans gets it down. Arnott, clever kick to Lockwood, who's been paid for a push in the back. The umpire said he got pushed. It's against Symes. Symes has been pretty solid today, Triggy, without starring himself. He's really held Lockwood.
Yes, you can see his attention's been very much on, I suppose, controlling a very damaging player rather than running off and creating too much. It's probably not his go anyway, I imagine. But yeah, so far, so good with the job. But Lockwood, well, he hasn't kicked one yet.
He's kicked a point, hasn't he?
Yeah, if he kicks one now, though, for as good a work as you've done through the day, you'd be disappointed, wouldn't you, as a centre-half back?
Lockwood's had 7 kicks, 4 handballs, so 11 possessions, 5 marks, and Symes hasn't had a kick, but I think he has nullified Lockwood, who is explosive when on song. And from 40, Lockwood just drills it towards the goals. The goal umpire comes back. Lockwood's disappointed. It's a point, so put 2 points to Lockwood this afternoon.
West Adelaide kicking in. Central District drops straight into a zone, which is 3 players across the front, then 4, then 5. So they've covered up most of the holes, and the long option's the best one.
The ball back in, and Symes, good mark, hand pass quickly. Unfortunately, Cassisi wasn't aware the player was behind him. But battle's on again. Symes just taps it out, and Munn might get a free kick. And when he eventually gets back to his feet, Munn gets a free kick. Cassisi hands it off to Cassisi now, kicks it down the wing. You get the feeling West Adelaide under siege here. Malinovsky pulled down, Arnold the other way, now Arnott. He's got one in the middle to look at, pops it up, out in front of goal, and a mark to McArdle. Oh yes, Central District is on the charge. So McArdle will line up from perhaps 25, 30 metres out.
What you didn't see there crossing off camera was that he called for it for about 5 seconds, really demanded that the ball came, and Arnott had no choice but to just cut back and deliver it up to him.
He certainly was good enough, and he honoured the lead, or the call. And McArdle, well, he just doesn't finish his work, unfortunately. So his kicking lets him down. Doesn't happen too often. Astray, and the margin is 8 points.
Some wise man once said that the third quarter is the premiership quarter. Central District in this third quarter have kicked 5 goals. West Adelaide have kicked 1, and as I said earlier, it's a real sign of a quality side that can work its way into the game at just the right time.
Symes to Hollands to Chubb, squeezes it out. Cassisi tucks the ball and runs. Barrett has had a day out today. The veteran really is returning to something like his best. Tried to be chased down by Chris Gowans. He just gets the kick away, a clever one in the final wash to Ed Richardson, who's marked about 35 metres out. Slide angle, and the Bloods trail by 8 points. They really need a goal here.
Just to extend that, David, last week, Central had 7 goals in the third quarter, the Norwoods 2 when the game was in the balance. So they back themselves in, don't they?
They do. Their third quarters this year have been terrific. And Ed Richardson, who hit the post just moments ago, gets another opportunity. It's coming back with the breeze. It's a good one. They're back within 2 points. The Bloods are mounting their own challenge. We really have got a game on our hands here at Richmond Oval.
Well, as they needed to. This is not only a test of their ability to hold on to 5th spot and play in the next few weeks, the rare home game that we mentioned earlier. They've got only 2 of the next 11 at home. But this is a really interesting test of their real want to stay in the premiership race in terms of the final 5. They're up against a good side. They could roll the flag up the pole at the moment, or they can dig in. At the moment, it looks like they're going to do the latter.
Almost 25 minutes into the third term, and Howard, who's gathered plenty of possessions, gathers another one, and West Adelaide make another entry. Richardson again at the front, Ed Richardson. Malinowski knocks it forward. Ed Richardson bustling, gets it loose, gets it into the open. Unfortunately, Bevis is there, hands it off to Hopwood for Centrals. They come away, they take their time, and well, Hahn running from behind almost ran him down. Finally cleared wide. Nathan chasing, bad bounce. Second time in this match he's got a really ordinary bounce. Chubb off the left leg. Too many Centrals numbers there at the moment. Munn scrambles it forward. Rutten, he's under it. Favoured by the bounce. And out of bounds eventually.
I think somebody's got a free kick out of that, haven't they?
Yeah, well, the tackler got the free kick. So McGowan, the small man taking on the big man, gets a free kick. Goes down the wing, stays down the line, and at the front, Dion Miles up in front of James Gowans, pulls down the mark. Not a lot ahead of him in terms of free options. So he elects to go back, just kick it long. And at the back, Arnold gets his player under the ball. Hay slots a hand pass through the middle, and I think he was taken late, was Hay.
I think you'll find
And a report.
That is a report. Yep. Ed Richardson.
Ed Richardson. Well, Ed got decked this side of the ground just a few minutes ago, and you might like to think that's a square up. Umpire Kevin Chambers has seen the infringements, come in and taken his number, and Hay and Richardson will have a visit to the tribunal on Tuesday night.
Maybe they'll use some video evidence and Hay won't be required. So that's
Just go down to Michael Parsons. There's been an interchange for West Adelaide, Michael.
Yes, Malcolm Polner coming on to replace Ben Rutten. So his first chance to get sweaty today. Been sitting on the bench from the start of the game. So Polner into the action.
Polner. Now what about Richardson here, fellas?
Well, that's what precipitated the report, and it looked like there was an arm coming through there somewhere. It was a bit of a blur. Siren time. So at three-quarter time, the margin is 2 points in favour of Centrals, and that man there has just been reported.
He has. That's a disappointing way to finish the term for them. You can see the disappointment in his face, but I suspect more so than that is the fact that Central District kicked 5 goals. West Adelaide at the same time only managed a couple for themselves. They got one late, but for the best part of that quarter, they were overwhelmed by Central District, who just kept shoveling it forward, pushing it forward, running hard, believing in themselves in the middle of the ground, and really put West Adelaide under some enormous pressure. They responded well in the end. The question mark, though, still to come is whether or not they can absorb it in the early part of the last quarter and then go on and get what you'd consider to be an unlikely win here at Richmond Oval.
So stay with us for the final quarter. I'm sure it'll be a beauty as West Adelaide trail Central Districts 11 goals 10 to 12 goals 6. As we start the final term, umpire Colin Rouston sets the big guys in motion. It's been a great battle in the midfield all day. Stewart thumps it down. Arnold came from half-back, just came crashing through. Carried the ball with him. Hollands, Cassisi, now Dion Miles on the left boot. He forces it wide, and underneath this one, Polner's on. The former North Adelaide player in the green and black boots. Fresh legs drives it forward to first gamer, Glenn Joyce, who goes in turn towards Richardson. outgunned on that occasion, 2 against 1, couldn't quite get to the contest. Back there it's Hay and Geister combining pretty well. Hay's kick is wide for Hamblin and out of bounds on the full. What a mistake at an important stage.
In terms of the fall-over?
In terms of the fall-over.
Yeah, loss of feet's pretty deadly, isn't it? I think that the question will be asked about what sort of boots are on there, because if he kept his feet, he might have been in the contest and with a goal.
McKinnon forces the ball across the line, had Richardson from behind him now. Richardson, who's on screen, was reported seconds before the three-quarter time siren. We weren't sure what it was for, but umpire Kevin Chambers came in quickly and said that he'd struck a blow. Now there's one keen fan, Triggy. You would have seen a few of them in your day, out with the Bulldogs. Malinovsky tried to get it out. Hicks got in the way and Hahn, the Iceman. That is a big goal. The Bloods have hit the front, and that's why the Iceman was recruited from Port Adelaide. He gets his second. He's kicked 2 goals, 2 today, and the one that nudges them in front early in the final quarter.
It was well done, wasn't it? That's just bullocking work and hard work. And it basically said, I want this footing. He's sitting forward a little bit, but had Hicks there, maybe a little lucky on the bounce, but this is just my footy, and I'm going to get it, and I'm going to make it happen. It's my turn, and I'm going to make it happen. And you can see he's pretty delighted with it as well. And why wouldn't you be? Because West Adelaide now with something more than a little sniff.
West Adelaide back in front for the first time since the 13-minute mark of the third term. So, ball forward, Gowans shaken off by Toomey. Now Miles just kicks it out into space. Joyce, he's been impressive on debut. Just feeds it back, they're building. And just look, well, that's off the side of the boot. Nathan, he's one of the players in that pack, outnumbered. Comes clear, Hahn, opportunity. The handball was pretty ordinary, set up Munn. He was crashed by Hicks into open space. Hopwood, he's got players forward. One of those is Chris Gowans. Well, under pressure, that was a pretty sloppy hand pass as well. Slade working hard. Gowans another opportunity. And, well, they're still letting it go. Finally, Toomey comes clear for Westies. He's pinned, doesn't matter. Miles clears the area.
Good umpiring too.
Yep.
Bit of space here now. Hahn, he's got one over the top. He gives out the hand pass. Making his way through there is Polner. And then on to Cassisi. Looks for a lead. He looks for the big man. It's touched over the back. It comes to Richardson. Snap, smothered. Well done by the defence. And finally, Hay clears it towards the boundary line. Geister did the job.
Oh, Geister's second effort was terrific.
Yes, it was, and we've talked about him a few times during the day, but young Hahn in the middle of the ground had a couple of handballs in the last 60 seconds. One was a bit wet, it fell off the end of the hands. The other one was purposeful and incisive and really very good. So he's making his presence felt in this last term.
Ed Richardson turns it around the corner. The commitment by all players was terrific. Now Stevens, unleashed from defence, drives it towards the grandstand wing. Lockwood couldn't quite control it. There's a blue on behind play. Symes and Chris Gowans as Munn, the lawn man, just chips it inboard, and Stewart, the dominant ruckman on the field, plays on, drives it long towards half forward. Sitting out all on his lonesome was Luke Nathan, and roving it is the Iceman. So Hahn drives towards goal. It's coming back, not quite enough, or is it? Oh, says the goal umpire, it's a goal! So Hahn gets his third, a team lifter for West Adelaide, and they're running high on emotion right now.
Well, Ian Moggridge sits behind us and each week does the stats for the ABC boys. I don't need it, Moggy, because just off the top of my head, Hahn has had 4 possessions this quarter and kicked 2 goals, and we're not that far into it at 2.5 minutes. That's not a bad start to the quarter, is it? He's had 5 possessions. Sorry, Moggy. He's had an even better start to the term than I thought.
Those stats men will get you every time, Tricky.
It's not bad, is it? He just turns us around. Have a look at that. So Scott Hahn from Kedron Grange in Brisbane via Port Adelaide to West Adelaide. Westies come clear again. Richardson, after being reported he may not be there next week, so he's making the most of it now. He gets it out to Hollands. Another forward entry. Adam Richardson. Oh, almost roved off the hands of Richardson, but he's over it again.
Oh,
he puts on a big stage.
Stop it.
That would not win you a B-grade movie role. That was pretty ordinary.
What about that? You'll never see a worse stage free kick in your life than this. Oh, Adam. What does he think? He could have killed them all.
Oh, we know that umpire's got 20/20 vision because he didn't play the free kick. Richardson slaps it wide. Cassisi and McGowan go at it. And Hamlin joins in, and the umpire says, "I'll have it." So players all over the ball. 10 points the margin if you've just joined us, 4 minutes into the final term, and Westies led by 17 at half-time.
He's done it again.
Now Richardson just fell out of the pack. Hahn got one high. That wasn't rewarded.
Well,
As you see, all the numbers, all the numbers coming out of defence for Centrals, but it meant they didn't have much forward of the play. Chubb does well. Hand passes, wrong player though, wrong colour. Guernsey working hard, everybody. Finally, McKinnon intercepted by Chubb in the end. Scrambles it forward. Working hard over the ball, Howard, who else? He's been very good. A hand pass.
Malinowski it was.
Malinowski did his best. Richardson turns it around. Adam Richardson's happy with the result, and why not? That's a second for Ed Richardson. 16 points the margin. Westies, well.
Could it be a boil over?
I thought for a moment he was caught in two minds because he had a short one, a teammate short, just across the top there. Look, maybe the handball, maybe not. In the end, it was a good choice, wasn't it? Around the body and pretty well scored. Now, this has really thrown the pressure back onto the heavyweight, hasn't it? The heavyweight champ is back on the ropes and needs to produce a flurry of punches himself to be able to get out of this, because West Adelaide are confident, they're playing pretty well, they're using the footy pretty well, and they've got a couple of focal points in the Richardson boys.
Arnold's in ruck, Slade's roving and sitting right under the feet of the big man. There he is. He positioned himself beautifully, the young rover. But clever work, Barrett flicks it out to Howard. Howard's had a terrific day for West Adelaide. Drives it long towards Richardson, read it beautifully. Plays on, swings on to the left, lines it up and misses. Well, he did everything right except kick the goal, the big fellow. And he's already kicked 5 goals this afternoon.
As Damien Arnold comes off, replaced by Cowan, so a bit of concern with the ease with which West Adelaide are getting the ball out of the centre at the moment.
So bring the ball back in. Hay goes long, really long. That was a great kick, but Ed Richardson comes back, puts his head down, rewarded with a free kick. Westies are coming hard. Richardson puts it up. Adam goes back in the middle of the pack. Well, it looked to be a mark. Pull down. Eventually it comes wide to Chris Gowans. The hand pass. Under pressure, Slade just taps it out of bounds.
There's a nice little principle in footy, and that is the old 1-2-3 rule. If you've got your opponent and he gets possession on you, well, that's footy. If he gets another one, you just be a bit conscious. If he gets a third one in a row, just go and get him and stop him, because at the moment there's a couple of boys. Hahn is one, and the other one is Ed Richardson, are just taken to pieces at the moment. So their respective opponents have to forsake their own game at the moment and just stop a player. Don't worry about running off, just stop your player.
Throw Barrett and Howard in there too.
Just go down to the West dugout where Michael's looking very comfortable.
Yes, thanks very much. I'm actually with the West Adelaide medical staff, Dr. Compton in particular, but I'm just wondering if Greg Mellor has an injury. He's been sitting down for a long time.
No, not as far as I'm aware, no injury.
So just hierarchy counts for nothing at West Adelaide.
Stop it.
He's a tough commentator.
He is a tough commentator. Michael Parsons in the bunker as Chris Barrett will shoot for goal. He's had 22 possessions today, the Barrow. This one's going to drop short. The lob there for Adam Richardson, thumped off hands and across the line for a point. So 78 plays, 96. The margin's now blown out to 18 points in favour of the Bloods.
Yes, my bold prediction at three-quarter time that they'd run away with it starting to look a bit silly, because West Adelaide have played with real purpose. They've run hard. They've probably just had that little harder edge at the footy in the 50-50s. This is dangerous as well. That sort of thing by Howard's been typical of what they've been up to.
No free kick. Interesting. 18 points the margin as we go around the grounds. Well, the Eagles by 14 points.
Not all over there yet, still in the balance, and South by 39 points over Glenelg. Glenelg's woeful year continues.
Yeah, it's not been good, has it? Apart from a win over North Adelaide. So, and Sturt.
Opening round.
Kasisi, dodge, wheeze, turns it over. Bevis kicks it clear of the defensive area, but only gets it as far as Richardson coming back the other way. He's hurt a couple of players, and he's still scrambling for it. Munn tries to shepherd for Chubb. Chubb gathers, but he's carried or piggybacked by Gowans. Now Munn. Now they've got it clear. Stewart, inside 50, good pass. Richardson holds it. Well, it was almost popped off the chest.
Central just can't get their ball players to get hold of the footy, can they?
It's a good pass, that, from a big guy.
It was. I'm not deflecting any attention from that, but I'm thinking if you're sitting in the Central coaching box, how to get back into this? You need a bit more of McKinnon with the footy and the Gowan boys and a bit of Ricky McGowan to get the footy. Michael Stevens, just not seeing them at the moment.
Richardson leans back and as a result sprays it. Had 2 opportunities in the final quarter, 5-4 for the match.
You just don't know, by the way, sometimes, do you, what sort of phase the clubs are in? Are they in a hard phase of their training or are they lightened off? But at the moment, Central look a bit stodgy.
McKinnon forced to go wide, still gets the kick away. Stewart sits underneath this, the big man is swamped. He still holds his ground pretty well, and Gowan stumps the ball across the line. That's James Gowan's, and we reset 11.5 minutes into the final term.
Would you have Arnold off at a critical time?
Yes, interesting. 42 possessions to 40 this quarter, so that 14. Thanks, Moggy, our stats man. Barrett, Howard. Oh, look at this. It's a procession as Joyce strides inside 50 and slaughters that one.
Oh, look, slaughters is a wonderful word. I was going to say butchered it, because with that sort of statistic, if you've got nearly 4 times the possession rate, you are all over the opposition. But if you're going to kick it out of bounds on the full on a free leg, you're just letting him off the hook.
I guess at 22 years of age, playing your first league game, it's a bit faster and a bit quicker than he's used to. A lot of lactic acid. He'd be just struggling about now.
Hicks far side of the ground. Central struggling right now. Cassisi shows it. Perhaps he shouldn't have. Now he's backed into trouble. Gets it forward though. Opportunity. Hahn nails it.
3 1/4.
3 1/4 from Hahn. As you say, 4 for the game. Scott Hahn has given Westies every single belief that maybe they might just snatch the victory over the top team.
Excuse me, I'm just watching the fat lady sing.
Well, the way, you know, you're not out there at training and you don't know exactly what's being said, but I would imagine the way that Alistair Clarkson wants his team to play is that they're pretty accountable and responsible for their players. I'll say it again, that someone's got Hahn at the moment, but they've just let him run, and he's gone all over the shop, and so too Barrett, and so too Howard, and so too Ed Richardson. You've just got to stop your man at a critical time like that.
I think Ian Broychard would be pretty pleased with his 3/4 time effort, because he really did pick out Scotty Hahn. Said he'd been unlucky sometimes and wanted him to really get after the ball, get a touch and kick a goal. He has delivered. 25
points the margin as Hay explodes out of the midfield. Symes marks the big fellow. He's done a nullifying effect today on Lockwood. Out it goes. Munn. That was Symes' first kick, by the way. Ian Moggridge, our stats man, tells us. Cassisi has missed with the kick and it's out of bounds on the full, and the Bulldogs will take a free. They need a goal, and they need one quickly. We're 13.5 minutes into the final term. They need 4 goals and a bit, and Symes marks in front of Lockwood. Confidence rising at West Adelaide. And they haven't had a great record in our televised games, by the way, fellas. I think in the last 8 games we've covered, they've won 1, and that was against Glenelg here last year. They were horrified when our cameras rocked up today, but they're looking pretty good for a win at this stage. Well done, Joyce. Thumps the ball towards the line, resets it all up for West Adelaide.
He's got a bit of Glenn Goss about him. You remember Glenn Goss from years ago?
He's a lot smaller, though.
A little bit smaller.
Same haircut, you think?
Yes, exactly.
Haven't seen him hit anybody yet either.
Gossy was tough.
So the ball kicked forward again by Westies. Hahn, that man, under the ball, and just bounces the wrong way. As a result, Bevis. Hahn's around the mark, and so's Barrett. Almost got a hold of him. Bevis now, though, comes clear. Options not really plentiful up forward, and as a result, well, good mark, Chubb. Hand pass comes to this side of the ground. Not a lot of options there for Miles, so he cuts back down the middle of the ground. The ball knocked away from Hollands. Miles follows up. May have given away a free kick. No, he hasn't. Ball on the ground. And still in dispute. And eventually, the umpire comes in. Hands off, boys, it's mine. 25 points to the margin, midway through.
I've got a question for you both. A question for you both. What's the most overused term in footy at the moment?
Champion?
No, not the terminology like that, but in terms of where the game's going to be won.
Oh, midfield.
Midfield, right. You hear it over and over and over, but I mean, all that stuff happens for a reason, because at the moment, Central just can't get hold of it for love nor money in terms of their midfielders. This is what's happening. We're first at the footy if we're West Adelaide, but Michael Stevens shoved off the footy. Guerra shoved off the footy and first at it. West Adelaide, it's a pretty familiar theme at the minute.
Well, I think Cassisi's been a pretty good recruit for him this year, and Barrett has lifted a notch or two.
Goes down the line with a kick inside half forward. I don't know if he actually meant it to finish there, but never mind. They've ended up with it anyway. Polner now into the central corridor. Oh, Cowan just wasn't sure where he was going to turn. On the far side of the ground, though, and acres to move in is Arnott. Gives it straight away to Lockwood. He hasn't got much loose in front of him, so he goes short. He goes for McArdle, and McArdle on the lead takes it.
King's done a pretty good job today on him.
Long way from goal. Arnott's followed up, collects the hand pass. Disadvantages.
Clever.
Well, Gowans eventually gets it. Can he get loose? Chris Gowans, well, ran himself into trouble, gave it back to Slade. Goal.
Very clever.
So a second goal for Slade, and, well, they're just holding in there, aren't they? The Bulldogs.
Never loses his feet, Chris Gowans.
I might be a little bit unfair, but I reckon he just took it a little laconically. I reckon that in the first, he had one crack at it here where he should have got it, then realised he was hot, and finally it worked out okay, but it just took, I thought there, it could have been there, but not to worry, in the end Slade got it. Well, Neil, yeah, I think within reach, but we're at the 15-minute mark. You've probably got 12, 13, 14 minutes left. It's within reach, no doubt about it.
19 points the margin. Central District at their best could peel this back. West Adelaide will need to show some real fight. You just suspect that if West Adelaide can kick the next goal, they definitely can win. Cowans, Luke Nathan over the top of the ball, bundles it out to Munn, who in turn dishes it further afield. And going to ground was Joyce. He picks up an FAD. Off goes Polner, grandstand wing. Over the top comes the handball. Hollins, who's been very clever and instrumental in plenty of attacks today, to Barrett, who's one of the best small men on the ground. And if he'd have kicked it, but he hits the post.
Pretty sure he's directly opposed to Chris Gowans, and they've worked pretty hard between the pair of them. At least at this moment they are. But Barrett's had a pretty good last quarter.
Central searching for fresh legs as Harada comes on for Hamblin.
It's not a bad kick in, Centrals. They need to go deep and quick. McKinnon after a chain, and Lockwood read it best. So did Slade. He was there, and, well, he just overran it. Symes back the other way, come Westies. Good kick by Symes. Ed Richardson under it. If he goes quickly, he might have Adam on a lead as the flood comes back. 3 or 4 defenders coming back into the 50.
They look tired, Central.
Yeah, he opts to go short. Not a bad option. That's Polner, Malcolm Polner.
If I was Ian Borchardt, I'd have the runner out there screaming at his boys. They are tired. They are tired. You can sense it. Sometimes easier to see from up here than it is on the ground, but Bulldogs are dragging the chain at the moment.
I don't know if that was too easy to see.
Well, free kick to Richardson. Look, we weren't there. The umpire was. He had better vision. What's your decision?
Very soft.
No, it's no free, that one. That is not a free.
The letter of the law again, Michael?
No, it's just not a free.
So Richardson, favourite side for a left footer. Probably done it a few times at training. Lines it up. And it's home, and I would think Westies are home as well as Richardson kicks his 6th.
2 goals in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, and now 1 in the last quarter. Is a pretty good day out for a full forward. I just talk about the evenness of Central is that McArdle is their leading goal kicker. He's got 2 today to take him to 18 from 10 rounds, and he's played, I think, in all of them. Richardson, in just his 4th game now, has 27 goals, so it's a fair impact.
27 goals, 11.
It's just a contrast, isn't it? One has 10 as a leading goal kicker, the other has 27. Central on the top. It's no less important, though, to have a guy who can be a focal point like Adam Richardson.
Stewart is finishing the game strongly as he started. Quentin Graham, who's battled tirelessly all afternoon. James Gowans picks it up, tucks it and runs. Delivers it up into the forward line. The target, great work, Howard over the top. Ricky McGowan was the target. But Howard, I think, has had the better of that one today.
I think he's, well, at least in my book, he's been one of the best best 2 or 3 on the ground for the day. I
think of your best, Stephen. We'll give you a chance to nail them in just a moment. Stewart thumps it down. Howard again, handballs forward. Across the line it goes. We're 20 minutes in. You just suspect that Central District have run out of time. And you just tell us when you're ready with your best, Triggy.
Well, West Adelaide at the moment are going to take the money, and to start with them, Hollands probably in the first half was their best player, certainly statistically, but I've really liked Howard and Barrett in terms of the way not only a volume of possessions, but they've made them really pay in terms of the way they've used them. So I'd say Howard, I'd say Barrett. I've had some pretty good contribution though also from both Richardsons up forward.
McGowan's possessions are 26, Howard's are 22. Now, you rank them on possessions, but I think the effectiveness and that has been better at Howard's end.
Howard's end, yeah, very good.
Alistair Clarkson looking for a goal now. Sevenala back on for Hicks.
Thanks for that as Hollands goes over the top with the handball. Clever work, Munn. He hasn't been their worst player today either. He's just battled on and attacked. Polner goes short. Barrett underneath this one. You're right about him. He was the catalyst when they really needed him early. And look at the kick to Richardson right on the chest and lace out. Do you mind?
And absent-mindedly, I've left out, of course, Hahn in that. Scott Hahn. Yep. Pretty important first half from him. An ultra important last quarter where you have really good volume of possessions, but you kick 3 goals of your 4 in the last quarter when the game's up for grabs. That's an important contribution.
Would 7 goals get Richardson back in the Crows, Triggy?
Probably depends what the Crows do.
Yeah, well, he's got 7. So now the Crows selectors have got something to think about.
They have. Selection pressure is a really important thing, and form of a number of players on the Crows list in the SANFL in recent weeks has been very good. What Richo really needed to do was to go back and have a game like this where he's had 13 kicks, he's taken 10 marks, and he's kicked 7 goals, 4 with those 13 kicks. So that's a pretty good day out, isn't it?
The thing I liked about him second half is he's led right down the V. He hasn't gone deep to the pocket, which he was in the first quarter. West Adelaide will win in emphatic style as Stewart thumps it down. Howard threads through traffic, delivers it up long and wide. Polner was the target, but at the back it's Richardson again. So he's already kicked 7 goals, Richo, and it's a procession because he'll go back and kick this and make it 8 for the afternoon. We're 22 minutes into the final term, and West Adelaide are going to defeat last year's Premier Central District on their home ground in emphatic style, and Richo's kicked 8. Do you mind? Welcome back to the SANFL, Richo. He'll dominate, and there's Henry Dabrowski on screen, just enjoying it. A big crowd at Richmond Oval as Richo kicks 8 for the afternoon. He has certainly put the cherry on top of the cake.
Yeah, it's a lovely cherry too if you're a full forward, if you kick 8. And was it the last time, the very last time that he went around that he had 12?
Yep.
That's a pretty good couple of weeks,
against
isn't it?
South Adelaide, 12 goals straight, Richo.
That's a pretty good couple of weeks in anybody's language, and as you said quite rightly, he's put his hand up for at least some thought in terms of a recall. He's played very, very well.
41 goals in his last 5 games. If you remember the last game of last year, he kicked 12 against Port Adelaide. So he really has been the dominant big man. Loose ball falls, down it comes. Nathan gets it away. Stevens tucks it under his arm, runs. They're still running Central District to their great credit. Munn handballs it back. Howard needs support, recovers himself. Well done, Miles. Back it goes to Luke Nathan and McKinnon. Marks at half back, dishes it out to Quentin Graham down in the corridor. This is where they're running the Bulldogs from half back. It's a raider over the top to Chris Gowans. Through the midfield, straighten it up. Here comes McArdle on the big lead. The big fella's up and down. Behind him, King almost brought it down. Toomey's played a good game in the back pocket today. Slade hasn't been as influential as he's been in recent weeks. And you look through the West Adelaide list, Triggy, and you'd nearly say all played well.
Yeah, I think that's a fair call. When you beat the top side, when you probably weren't in all objectivity fancied before the game, I think they've all made their contribution. Greg Muller has sat on the boundary line for a long time, which we'd be surprised at. I would be very surprised equally if there's not something wrong with him, but they have all made their contribution. And you don't beat the top side, David, unless you've got that even contribution.
Absolutely. Cassisi over the top of it. McGowan fights hard. Gives it back to Hopwood, who I thought his first 2.5 quarters were just sensational. He was just very, very clever, Hopwood. And look at the kick. It's come straight down the throat of Cowan. So Luke Cowan, 21-year-old recruit who is in his 8th game for Central District and still hasn't scored a goal. He's a scoreboard virgin, that's for sure. And we'll go back from 30. Kick number 2 for the big man who has spent some time on the bench. Stays over it, heads straight, follows through, but he still won't get a goal. It's offline and through for a behind.
Anybody ever say this was a funny game, by the way?
Oh, no doubt about it.
Well, Central District, for all the world, looked like they'd run over West Adelaide with that wonderful third quarter they had. It was hard and uncompromising and efficiently using the footy. And West Adelaide, against all odds, have come out this term and not only have they won on the scoreboard, but they've absolutely dominated all around the ground.
I think this says something, Crossy, doesn't it, about West Adelaide? They have consolidated inside the 5. There's a real gap now between the top 5 and the bottom 5.
I'm not exactly sure that's good for competition, but it's certainly been good for Westies. And here goes Hollands. He's been good for Westies. Out in front of Richardson. It's knocked away. Hereda will clean up. Now McKinnon will come this side of the ground. Dodges around. He's been up forward and down back. And they haven't had a real lot of four-quarter contributors. And on the other hand, Westie's been battling all day. Joyce, forward hand pass. Barrett can finish this in style, and well, obviously not happy with the result, and it's just faded away for another minor score.
I think until today, Crossy, we all thought there were only 4 real contenders for the flag.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
West Adelaide today have really thrown themselves amongst the mix.
And importantly, of course, Ben Watkins, who, would I be right in saying, is one of the most influential ruckmen in the competition.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair call. He's out injured today.
Missing today, so getting back and adding to Mark Stewart has been pretty effective. Just adds another one.
Belraj Singh is still able to come back into this side if he's good enough, and Luke Godden's out with a knee injury. So they've got a couple to come back. 9 marks to Ed Richardson today. He's really been an effective player. 16 kicks for him also. Munn from half-back drifts down, drives it back into the forward line. Guerra was up and down. Quinton Graham handballs over his head into space. Chris Gowans just gives it away. Ricky McGowan claimed in the tackle. Goes to ground. It's got to be holding the ball. No, the advantage is played. And guess who it is? It's Malinovsky. Nicholas, you've done it, son. You've kicked the goal and you finished it off. In your first game of league footy, the boy from Renmark gets one, and great support from his teammates. And he scored with both his kicks today, Triggy, so he is a scorer.
Nice way to finish the day for West Adelaide, isn't it? They're going to have a celebration because they've bounced off the bye. We said at the top of the show they've spent 2 weeks mulling over the fact that they were beaten by a point by Port Adelaide last time. That sits in the bottom of the belly and doesn't sit very easily, I might add. That they've sat through that for a fortnight. They've had to wait. It's a long time to wait to get another crack at it. They've worked very, very hard today. They've beaten the top side, and the young fellas kicked the goal. So lots of celebrations to be had tonight.
And Crossy, we go to Unley Oval next week. We're at Sturt and West. What a game that's turning into be now.
Well, Sturt's going to have an impact on the competition this year. You would think that is absolutely vital. And a good mark by Ed Richardson. Actually got a double barrel next weekend. We've got a couple of matches with the long weekend. We're going
Central and North at Elizabeth. Is that the one you're thinking about?
Yep.
Well, what about that Central District? I reckon there'll be 1 million people at that game.
I don't know if they'd fit them in there out of the Ponderosa, but we'll wait and see. I'll tell you what, this crowd's livened up, Stephen. It's not huge, but they're right behind the Westies.
And they've had a good day.
You don't reckon Darryl Hart won't get the raspberry out at Elizabeth Oval Monday? Coaching North Adelaide. Oh, Richo! He's got it! And he's kicked 8 already, Richo. So he'll go back and kick 9. We're 28.5 minutes into the final term. And if he kicks this one through and they go back to the centre, he's still got time for 10.
Paul Geister sat with him all day. He's been there, I think he sat with him all day, it would seem. I suppose the question is, who else do you put there?
Who else?
And the other thing that Alistair Clarkson would be thinking was, well, he's made him earn, you know, by and large, most of those goals. So just a dirty day when you sit on a bloke and he's kicking 9 goals, which is the way it finishes as the final siren goes here at Richmond Oval.
4 in the final term to Richo. Big West Adelaide crowd. They've come from the clouds. You'd suspect they were watching the telecast in the local streets, and they've just stormed to the ground to watch their side win in emphatic style. 20-15 to 13 goals, 17. What's that? Is that 50 points? The final wash when it was 2 points at three-quarter time, Tricky.
It's an absolute thumping, isn't it? Because at three-quarter time, West Adelaide had 11 on the board. They finished with 20, so a 9-goal term in anybody's language is terrific. Just an overview of the game. Central District, to me, looked tired. Sometimes it's hard to work out whether that's because you're chasing or because they genuinely are tired, but they weren't getting much of the footy. But at the same time, they look very tired. Now, that's their side of the equation. The positive side of it is that West Adelaide were terrific. They came out, they kicked 7 goals in the first quarter, and they were fundamentally at it. They kept at it and at it and at it. They worked very hard. They defended well. They ran hard when they had the footy. And they had a bit of self-belief too, I might add, because when they were threatened, and they were threatened a couple of times in that third quarter, they just kept coming, and that last quarter was reward because the game opened up. He kicked 9 goals. Richo kicked 4 of them, having kicked 5 earlier in the game, and his presence up forward was very, very important. Michael Parsons is down on ground level, and he's got the colourful one himself.
Yeah, Adam, welcome back to the SANFL. You've got to be happy with 9.
No, it was terrific, mate. It was a hard-fought team effort by the boys. They really needed to win this week against Centrals to beat a few of the sides above them. So they really done well to themselves. It's good.
Yeah, I think a very good point about beating a team above you really sets you up for a run at the finals now later in the year. Yeah, certainly. Definitely after losing to Port Adelaide by 1 point a couple of weeks ago. Boys are really keen on winning this one. They've done real well. So they're looking forward, and it'll be the year of the Vides, mate. And young Joyce, first game, he played a pretty good game. Oh, he was terrific. Provided plenty of run in the midfield, kicked himself a goal there as well. So he'd be real happy with that as well. So it's good. Adam, we're glad to see you back in the SANFL, but you've given them something to think about upstairs as well. Thanks for talking to us, mate. Good on you. Thanks.